Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your buddy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you Kineke Answer Me. And tonight, guys, we are joined by co-host Jack Kineke, Sid from Paxton Road, and Mike from Paxton Road. How are you all keeping, guys? How are you all keeping? Jack, how are you, my man?
Very good, Dave. Very good, very good. You know, honestly, just watching maybe Ronald Koeman lose his job at the moment, seeing lots of things going wrong over at Barcelona, maybe giving a bit of perspective on what's going on here. But at the same time, we certainly have a lot of problems to fix tonight, Dave, for sure.
No, 100%. Look, not Champions League night for us anyway. That's where we should be. So you're just rubbing it in now, Jack. Rubbing salt.
It's going a lot worse for bigger clubs, Dave. Maybe that's what I meant. It's going a lot worse for bigger clubs.
That's true. But Mike, my man, how are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. That result at the weekend still eating away at me a little bit. I've just finished football myself, so I'm aching. So yeah. I'm all good other than that, though. I'm all good. I'm certainly pleased to be back on here, and yeah, looking forward to the show ahead.
No, absolutely brilliant. That's what I love to hear. Sid, my man, how are things?
Things are all right, mate. It's all right. Well, it's never all right for Spurs fan, but you know what? We get on with it. We carry on singing, carry on being chirpy, and we just get on with life. We are, after all, Tottenham Hotspur supporters.
That's the truth. Look, we're suckers. We fall for it every single week.
Absolutely.
Look, but that's just the sort of fans we are. But guys, make sure let's see what Harris Army we have in here first of all, actually. But if you do like what the two Paxton Road boys have to say, make sure you get over to Paxton Road TV and smash that subscribe button. I will drop the link in the chat throughout the show, guys. Chris is in the building. He says both the lazy arse players and Nuno, whose negative tactics showing in force. Fair point, Chris. Fair point, my man. Kenny says, come on, you Harris Army. Spurs women are beating our ladies 5-1. Now, no words today. Come on, you boys in green. Big up, David Harris. Love the show. Big up, Killian Kenny. There's your usual shout out, my man. James Redmond, he wants Nuno gone. He's making that clear. The regular says, big up, you guys. The problem is everyone at this club from top to bottom. We need to sort it out. I couldn't agree more, my man. Shamu Van Spurs says Benfica 3-0 over Barcelona. Yeah, big problems there. Big problems there. Big up, Dermot. Tottenham Tantrum. Really appreciate the support, my man. And he says, big up, guys. I've seen Spurs down the years, good and bad, but I know we will be great again. We are the mighty Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Big yourself up, Dermot. This is what I absolutely love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Showing that love and that passion for the club. Big up, my man. Jack, you want to say anything to Dermot?
I mean, today he sent me one of the most motivational texts, about, maybe just the roller coaster, Dave, you might say, of being a Spurs fan. He was just saying, believe me, we've been in downs like this before. He said, you might seem like it's the worst one, but that's even things he said we've said before in the past as well, and so maybe, Dave, all I can say is that guy has a way of words and really, honestly, actually gave me a bit of motivation, maybe a bit of a pick-me-up. So Dermot, as always, really do appreciate you, brother, because it really beautifully said, as you said here, but also Dave, he sent me actually very motivational text about Spurs, especially being a young supporter myself.
No, Dermot's taking my job in the fan base, being the delusional one, getting everyone pumped up, telling them he's taking my job. Big up, Dermot. We have Paro Miguel Escobardo. Big up. He says, good evening, fam. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. I love to see that, guys. Keep them things trending. Keep putting them in there. DJX Kane says, when is Nuno going to realise that those players will cost him his job? He needs to start trusting some of the youth. Not all of them, of course. The club needs a refresh, just like Arsenal did. Great comment, D-Trex. Couldn't agree more, my man. Mr. Edwardson says, hi, David, and hi, Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Big up. We have Zanuska Ramchunder. I hope things are well. She says, I don't really think Nuno has been given enough games for us to put blame on him, though. Some of the starting lineups have been questionable. The players, however, should definitely take responsibility. I couldn't agree more. Another great comment.
Well said. Very wise of you, Zanuska. Very wise.
Jeffrey Studney says it's Tottenham boys making all the noise. That's what I love to see. We have Kuva99. Nuno couldn't inspire me to escape from a burning building, or couldn't inspire me to escape from a burning building. Some players have the mentality to organise and motivate themselves, but clearly ours don't. We need a different manager to get anything, in my opinion. Great point, Kuva. Big yourself up. Hope you finished decorating, and hope the missus gave it the big tick off on the sheet. She's happy with it. Big up, Kuva. Paxton Road TV. I don't know who's in charge of this one. Is it Shane? Is it Darius?
Could be Shane.
Who knows? We'll just play the game. We'll try and suss out by the comments. But it says both are at fault for the game on Sunday, but the manager is responsible for making the right decisions and changing things. And look, always sense coming from Paxton Road. We know that. Catman Jeff says, great lineup. Big up, everyone. Big up, Catman. We have Lex in the building. Says, big up, lads. Big yourself up, Lex. We've got Jerry. Says, come on, you Spurs. William McKenzie. Come on, you Spurs. David, member of the David Army. Big yourself up. He says, big up, Dave, Jack, and the panel. Looking forward to the questions. Great reaction video on the Flat Cap Euro Talk. Like and subscribe. Absolute great. We'll actually plug that in a little while when there's more people in, so we will. Spursy141 says, big up, Mike, and Sid. Big yourself up. Is this Jody? Judge Jody?
Yeah, it's Judge Jody.
Judge Jody. Love the name for the show, so I think it's brilliant. Dan N says, we need to start the Levy Enoch out chance at the lane, put the pressure on the hierarchy. Fair point, couldn't agree more. Thomas James Smith says, who's to blame? The team are not interested. Nuno is way out of his depth with his players. Also, the board not listening to Poch. He would have took us to the league, but the owners are too greedy. Another great point. I can't disagree with anybody. You're all on fire.
It's hard to disagree.
Must have all had the remix this morning, I'd say, and probably doubled up on them. Kane the long shot says, big up, boys. Come on, you Spurs. Gaguma's in the building. Big up, Gaguma. Big up, Georgie. George is in the building. Hi, guys. We have Ethan Spurs says, I'm actually lost with Spurs. I agree with you. I'm lost as well. Yeah. And Shane O'Neill, how many of yous in that YouTube WhatsApp chat? Not in it, my man.
Not me. No.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's about, to be honest with you, but I'm not in it. I don't know what you're talking about, but I just know I'm not in it. And there's the Paxton Road, guys. So make sure if you do like what the boys are saying, get over there and subscribe.
We'll put it in at plenty of other times as well. We'll put it in there plenty of other times. Definitely towards the end of the show. We'll have that big little surge like we always do, but maybe while it's out there, we'll just put it there while it's there.
Thank you. 100%. So guys, make sure you get over there and smash that subscribe button. The big push for 1K. They're so close. Let's see if we can even tip them over the edge. Let's see if we can get it done, guys. And Joe27 says, hi guys, looking forward to this. Big yourself up. And Judge Judy's in the building, so she'll be slamming the hammer down on who has the best answer.
Sentencing.
And Jerome says, big up, guys. Looking forward to another great stream. My man, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well, look, there's the Harris Army. Welcome into the building. Make sure you, of course, do the basics. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button if you're new. And look, why not help support me and Jack on our YouTube journey and send in a super chat? It really does go a long way to helping us. Look, I keep saying, there's one lollipop left. There may be a kid accused. Honestly, I'm saying, right, I want that lollipop. I'm handing out euros down the line. I'm saying you can get 10 for that price. Move out my way, I want that. So basically what I'm saying is if you want to skip the chat, put the super chat in and you get to the very top of the line. So look, let's move on. We do have a sponsorship coming up, guys. It is with Manscaped. So guys, get your good lines in there. Get your good punchlines in there. I want to see what people have got, to plug the product, and let's maybe get the best ones for it, guys. So get them in there. But look, Jack, handing it over to you. You take the reins, my man.
I was going to say, anybody who has a comedic bone, which I know is plenty of, there are plenty of people with that comedic kind of funny bone in the Harris Army. But yeah, Dave and I, we need maybe the good down under kind of let's say kind of jokes for maybe the future. So everybody, we're going to need to have you come up with the best of stuff. Maybe David, William Kelly's already started us off, and Kuva99 as well is a new member as well. Big up, Kuva99. Good to see you. Good to see you, Kuva. Hopefully you can join us next Monday, Kuva, as well. I would just say total legend of the Flat Cap Euro Talk, Dave Army over there, and I would love to see Kuva come on. Real legend. No,
he is a real legend. We have lazy big up Kuva. Actually, Kuva, yeah, I do want to see you Monday, my man. I want you to come on and give us some jokes, cheer me up. Big up lads in the panel checking in between jobs. Please solve this Spursy problem tonight so I can get on with life. We have all the every done in one night.
It could be a while.
A lot of pressure. Vince Vega is in the building. He says, come on, you Spurs. Mary McGee's in there as well. Absolute legend. We have Golden Cock, another legend. But look, William Kelly. William, my man, hope things are well. He says, William, if you want to come on the fan show Monday, actually, let me know. And I'll get a link over to you. Get in contact with me, my man. All my social medias are below. my email and everything else. Make sure you get in contact. But Jack, I'll let you take this. This is your job today, lad.
Appreciate you, Dave. Appreciate you. William Kelly, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us as always. And he says, I want Kane, Dele, Dyer, Sanchez, and Dembele all dropped from the Villa match and not even on the bench. Make a statement. What has Nuno got to lose? His job, that's pretty much gone anyways. Come on, you Spurs. Enoch out. A bit of a mic drop there, I would say, to a degree.
That's a mic drop.
And also as well, I'd probably say that, again, someone who's probably still very much, recovering from the loss, who eventually will join us again, is Dark Sun G. And I know Dark Sun G, again, there are a lot of comments, Dave, that have just really sung through him. It's almost like Dark Sun G is still with us in spirit, you might say, with some of these. And I would say, William Kelly, there is someone that really would promote the youth, maybe, is what you're suggesting. At least we would know that with the youth, like I said, maybe before the other night, William Kelly, the youth actually have something to prove, maybe in comparison to some of these players, regardless if the tactics are wrong, regardless if they don't believe in the manager and whatnot, the youth actually have maybe something that they have to either prove for the badge, for the club, for the fans, for themselves, for their future, for their careers. And we can actually can count on that. And some of the players that recently, like the likes of Dele, especially Moon Boots, Sanchez, and Dembele, it's really hard to know where their heart really is in anything, let alone with the club. It's hard to know what they even believe in at this rate, Dave. So that's what I would probably argue. And I think I agree with you. Nuno should go with who he trusts. Does he really trust some of those players mentioned that you did, William Kelly? Not so sure if he really does trust them. So I think he should go with the youth. And as well, Enoch out, of course. Well done, William Kelly. Well said as well.
Yeah, look, for me, Moon Boots, GPS, and Ronald McDombele dropped them all, to be honest. Would you get Romero and Rodin in there at centre-back? I would probably put Gil in there as the third midfielder with Højbjerg and Skipp behind him. Let Gil go forward. That's what I would do. I agree with you. Look, Jose Mourinho done it for a Villa match last season. Correct me if I'm wrong. We ended up winning 3-1. We seen bodies being put on the line. He gave it a bit of a shake-up. Maybe it's what it needs. Maybe that game told us everything we need to know. There are players here that just couldn't give a crap about the club, about us, because if they did, they would have put in a performance in the North London Derby. It wouldn't have been over after 35 minutes. So there has to be massive shake-ups at this club. Look, you're dealing with, honestly, this is where the state of this club is at. Years ago, if players lost the North London Derby, there's no way you would have seen them at a James Bond premiere this week. No way, Jose. They would have been on that training pitch putting things right. But what are our players doing? Standing there in front of the James Bond car with the hair slicked back with the comb, standing there with the missus, get a picture at me, look at me, 007, Kane 007, ridiculous stuff. I'm fed up. Get on the training pitch and put in performances. I don't care what comes up on your Instagram or your Twitter. I'm not going to like it until we start winning. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But look, as far as Nuno, we're going to get into it, my man. And, of course, look, Enoch out, even if we can get Enoch to reform, just change the ways even. I'll settle for that. It's a big ask to get Enoch out. I know there's a lot of movement underway to try and get it to happen. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. But big up, William Kelly. Good to see you in, my man. I hope things are well. But like I said, make sure you do get in contact. But look, Jack, we do have guests. Let's start firing the questions at them. Let's see if they can handle it around the Kineke answer.
Let's see if they can handle themselves around here. Let's see if they can, put them under the cosh, maybe, as we say. And so maybe we'll just start, hopefully, a bit easy. Maybe it's not easy, but we'll just start with this. Guys, I feel like, the last two matches, at least in the case of Chelsea and of Arsenal, we probably have found out, that maybe Skippy being left out is potentially a problem. Do you guys even see that as a problem? Do you even see that maybe Skippy is practically more crucial in these big matches than maybe we previously thought? I mean, what do you guys think? Is Skippy now, you can disagree, agree? Do you feel like he's imperative now, maybe for some of these bigger matches, maybe against stronger teams, you might even say? I'll start with maybe Sid, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Yes. So I followed Skippy last season at Norwich, and he was their player of the season, and he was awesome. He was the box-to-box player, and he carried Norwich. There was certain games where he was picking up the ball inside his own penalty box, and he was running all the way to the edge of the opponent's penalty box before he got fouled or he got free kick or he assisted somebody. The games that we've seen when he's played, he's been solid. He's been resilient. He's been solid. I mean, the Wolves game when he got that tackle on Traore, come on, man. Somebody the size of him getting in there with Traore, you know what I mean? immense. And the North London derby for me proved the point that we've got Ndombele and we've got Dele Alli. Them two are not the players that can play with Højbjerg. If there's one player now, and it's inevitable now that we've all seen it, Skippy has to be the player to play with Højbjerg. And had he had started in that game against Arsenal, I think it would have been a different result, and I think it would have been a different game. Because if we've all seen the analysis from Jamie Carragher on Sky Sports everywhere, from the moment we kicked off, that midfield disappeared. Had Skipp been in there, I don't think that midfield would have disappeared. And I think Arsenal would have had a wake-up call, and I think they wouldn't have found it as easy as they did. So in answer to your question, Jack, I think he has to be a starter with Højbjerg. It's without a doubt, he has to be now. We have to test him in. We have to embed him into that team somehow. You know, Nuno's head's on the line. A lot of players' head's on the line. We've realised half that midfield, in fact, 3/4 of that midfield is not good enough. So why not bring Højbjerg and Skippy in?
I agree, actually. I completely agree. And we're missing that midfield hard man. We're missing that midfield hard man. You know, I totally agree. William Kelly, before I get to Mike here, he's saying, I don't mind losing guys as long as you show fight, but these players don't care, and I want them out now. I mean, maybe then I could actually spin this maybe a bit towards Mike in that degree. Maybe if you put it in the context of Skippy, Mike, you know, if you possibly can do that for me, is that maybe another reason with Skippy? He's actually that midfield hard man, someone who knows what it means to sweat and bleed, run for the club. Is that maybe what we're missing in some of these big games, Mike? Is, you know, to potentially, you know, fix one of William Kelly's issues with some of these players?
To be fair, do you know what? When we signed Højbjerg, I thought he was that man. I thought he was our governor.
But yeah,
I think, and I don't think one game. I'm not going to judge it. In fact, I'm not even going to judge him on the last couple of games. Like a couple of games doesn't determine whether he's a good, great, or even a bad player. Højbjerg. I think the issue with Højbjerg is he's trying to do, or he's being tasked with too many different jobs, and that's what I think. He's just like, well, what the hell's going on here? Am I a defensive midfielder? Am I attacking midfielder? Am I supposed to be going box to box? But going back and angle it back to Skipp, I like Skipp. I did watch. I watched a lot of his games. Well, a few of his games at Norwich and as much clips as I possibly could. I do. He's in England under 21. I think he's captain. So for me, that tells you part of the story already about him as a player. I think in the future, I think he definitely 100% has the material to be a Spurs captain. I think he's got when you saw him come on against Arsenal, he's the only player. Was he? Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was the only player that got booked. I mean, you're in a North London derby and you're waiting for Skipp, who's probably one of the youngest to come on the pitch, and straight away, within 5-10 minutes, he's got booked. You didn't see any of that passion. You didn't see any of that drive, that hunger, that determination for anyone to match what he brought on, and it took a youngster to come on in the second half. And you can argue that maybe Arsenal did drop off a little bit because the game essentially probably was won after 35 minutes. But why did he not play Skipp in the first place?
He's that midfield hard man, Mike, right? Maybe that's what we're finding out. He's actually someone who will always show that fight that maybe Kev Williams is talking, or William Kelly is talking about here.
Is that exactly? I mean, I think it was, what game was it against, where Skipp, it might have been Crystal Palace, where Skipp was what I would say, he didn't have a good game, but I think he wasn't fit for that. I think he came back from that international break with a knock, and I think he got thrown in because Nuno, to be honest, I don't think he really knew what he was doing, and he just threw Skipp on to I don't know, just to play him almost. He didn't have a good game, but the fact that he was there, he was trying. He just didn't have a good game, and you could see the knock that he got for England had obviously taken its toll. I think if you're going to play Højbjerg and Skipp together, you can't play this 4-3-3 nonsense. It's just not suiting us. If we play 4-3, and I'm happy to put my hand on my heart here, if we play 4-3-3 for the rest of the season, we're going to be in a relegation fight because we haven't got the players to fit that formation. And you can already see Skipp and Højbjerg. If you're playing a 4-3-3, Skipp and Højbjerg, they're as much as I love them as players and what they bring to the team, they're not fit for that three in the man midfield. It just isn't going to work. Wherever you have Skipp, Højbjerg, and Dembele, Skipp, Højbjerg, Dele Alli, even Skipp, Højbjerg, Winks. I mean, that was never going to work in a million years. I mean, we're fans. We can see that, and yet Nuno's go. I just don't know what's going through his head. But if you're going to play Skipp and Højbjerg, for me, you're either going to have to go. What Nuno should do is either revert back to the formation that he was used to at Wolves, which he knows through the back of his hand. He knows how to coach it. He knows how to employ that formation, those tactics, that philosophy, or he's going to have to play the formation that a lot of those Spurs players are used to, i.e. 4-2-3-1, which we played under Pochettino, and we saw countless games where we were successful. I mean, we got to Champions League final playing that sort of formation. So I think Skipp, for me, he's a must.
He's a must. Absolutely.
He's a must.
I completely agree. And I was just going to say, to William Kelly there on the super chat, I just feel like, at this rate, we just have to find that fight. We have to find which players actually want to respect this club, respect the fans 100%. That, paying the hard, good money to come into the stadium and watch the team. And William Kelly, couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more.
And like he says, Jack, I don't think any fan, especially us here in the panel and everyone that's watching, all that Haris Army, etc., I don't think any fan will criticise or moan or be annoyed with Spurs if they lose, but they lost in the manner whereby you could see they were fighting for the badge. And the last 3 games, nothing. I don't think they've been fighting for well, it doesn't feel like they've been fighting for the badge.
No, there's been nothing there. There's been nothing there. David, I feel like, maybe I can set you up for this one. I feel like you've maybe sung from this hymn sheet, before, or you've said, there might need to be a better job, done with, kind of the vetting of the players, making sure that they have the right attitude, the right mentality coming into the club ahead of time. Because Dermot here is saying, David, any player coming to Spurs, whether he's a big signing or just a ground staff boy, must be dedicated to the game and the club and must hate losing. Come on, you Spurs. David, I feel like this is from your hymn sheet. I just got to set you up for it. I think Dermot's even setting you up for it. I know you're going to hit it home. There's no way missing this sitter. But like I said, Dave, it's from your hymn sheet. It's practically from your Bible.
No, it is. Look, he must be reading the first page of it. Look, what I would say to that is look, the thing is with football nowadays, there's too many people getting into football not for the love of the game. It's completely changed. As soon as the money came into football, that's where you're getting non-football people into the game and not knowing anything about the game and trying to make decisions on it based on spreadsheets and everything else. A bit like our owner, you should say. And that's where things completely changed. The minute we were starting being called consumers instead of fans, we should have known. We should have seen this was coming. And it's a massive problem. Look, you even have, famous Benoit Sokoto, hated football, got into it for the game. Bellerin at Arsenal, he wants to be a vegan on that show, Next Top Model and everything else. Doesn't even want to be in football. And look at the money these guys are taking from it. You think you look at half of our squad, even players, right? For instance, Harry Winks, right? Now, he's shit. He's no good, right? And he's just hanging on at Tottenham. Now, where's your drive? Have you forgotten as a young lad what you got into football for? Where's your drive and hunger?
You've already mentioned it, David.
Money.
You've already mentioned it. It's money.
Yeah, it's money.
Yeah, but this is the problem. The thing is, players, they no longer want to be the very best they can. If it's not working out at a club, they don't want to go to another club to play football. They just want to hang on there for money, and this is the problem. Yeah. And look, especially at Tottenham, and it's from all sides of the game. It's even staff, involved that they're bringing in and everything else. They all make money based on. They all make their decisions based on that. None of it's ever for the love of the game or what's best for the supporters or what's best for the club. So it's a hard one to take, Dermot. It's a hard one to take. But look, I agree with you, man. We need to get more people dedicated to the game. Back in and around clubs again, because it's getting beyond the belief. It's getting to be a piss take. It's made. And I don't mean this in any disrespect, but you're getting people from businesses being wined and dined at football match who have who couldn't care less about football or couldn't care less about your club.
Prawn sandwich.
And stood on the terraces, run, sun, rain, or snow, right? Stood on the terraces. Why aren't whining and dining these fans that have done it for 30, 40, 50 years? Why not wine and dine them for a game?
Absolutely.
It's absolutely gone ridiculous. They're bringing them now to get big deals over the line, and it's gone beyond the joke, Dermot. But big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate the support.
And William Kelly here, maybe kind of almost, I would say, wrapping this up on Skippy, I would say just absolutely, again, maybe a bit of a mic drop, I would say, from you, William Kelly, saying Skippy plays for the badge. I also want Kane sold now. Also, he doesn't not want to be there. No more. Get him out. Get Scarlett in. I think maybe it might let the panel as well as maybe David first touch on the Kane situation. Of course, guys, we're going to touch Kane towards the end, though, so maybe don't leak all your best stuff maybe on it, just because we will satisfy William Kelly maybe a bit later on this. But I just feel like, William Kelly, appreciate you maybe answering, the case on Skippy. I just feel like that's exactly maybe you were alluding to, William Kelly, just saying that Skippy is just one of those ones that even if he has a bad game, like you were saying in your previous super chat, William Kelly, at least he's going to be fighting and bleeding for the badge, putting in those raw tackles that we saw, getting stuck in for a living, as you might say as well, because even if he has a bad game, he wants to get stuck in. He wants to be sitting at the same table as Højbjerg, drinking, from the best kind of, Vikings table where they all just talk about all the 2-footed tackles they've completed during the game and whatnot. So William Kelly, I really do agree with the Skippy part. Dave, maybe something to say about Kane here, maybe to William Kelly. Would you put Scarlett in maybe sooner rather than later?
Yeah, the first thing I'll say about Harry Kane is I love you. You're my favourite player. But look, when it comes to Kane, he's clearly not performing right now. He's clearly not performing. But he will.
Yeah.
He will. Trust me. I spoke to him last night. He said to me, look, Dave, I know. No, seriously, though, he will start performing. He does start slow. He tends to start season slow. We all know this. He's off the back of a long European Championships. In fact, you look at most of the England players who played in European Championships, they're all struggling right now for form. Every single one of them. So look, just give him time. He will come good. Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. I fully understand where people are coming from, by saying that they don't want him to play if he's not going to play well and everything else. I fully understand it. But the same thing is, if we're having, creative problems now and problems scoring goals, we're not going to improve by taking him out of the team. It's not going to happen. He got the most goals last year and the most assists last year. Look, it's a hard one with Harry. But I think we just have to persist with it. I do think. But I genuinely, it's true. Go and look at all the England players that play for England. They're all struggling for form right now, and most of them are all struggling for form. So I would say just give it time. Give it time.
Maybe just have to be a bit more patient, William Kelly. I guess that's what David says, but I love how you absolutely wiped your hands clean with the Skippy situation. I thought that was a perfect way to finish it, Dave. Just one of those players that even during a bad game, you at least know he's going to be putting in his full effort.
No, 100%. And I'll just add, look, Scarlett Mbappe, I've huge plans for him, huge hopes for him, and he will come good. But with this guy, you're going to have to drip feed him in and out. That's what you're going to have to do with this guy, I believe. I do think he will get goals given the opportunity. But big up William Kelly, really appreciate it. We'll take this one, Jacko, and then we'll find more questions at the boys.
Absolutely. Paul Markey saying, my opinion has come to realize that Højbjerg is a limited good player playing in a weak midfield, making him seem a better player than he is. I think that's probably, somewhat of a bit of a common kind of opinion, I would say, actually, to a degree of certain Spurs fans. Maybe they're just thinking that Højbjerg isn't as elite as maybe certain people like to think that he is, but at the same time, he certainly is much better than the midfield that he is surrounded by. So we almost kind of, put him on this higher pedestal than maybe he might actually be. But at the same time, I think he's proven, in a season and a half to be far better than a lot of the midfielders that we have currently in our squad. I personally think he's probably not too limited, maybe apart from being, like an attacking midfielder. I would say he's actually quite good at being a box-to-box midfielder. We saw him in the Danish national team just winning every single ball way high up the pitch. Some of the ways he can press. I think he learned that probably from the Bayern Academy, the way he can press high up the pitch and win the ball back in situations. As I also like to say, the Højbjerg shoulder probably hurts more than any other shoulder in the Premier League. He can knock people out of the stadium. But as well, maybe it might be a commonly held opinion, I would actually say, where, maybe if we actually brought in the likes of like a Moussa Dembele back, maybe from years past and things like that, maybe Højbjerg to a degree, might be kind of balanced out or maybe not be on such an elite pedestal that we probably put him on. Maybe Paul Markey, I actually could agree with you there. As much as I personally like to think that Højbjerg is an absolute god, probably just shows that, how deprived we are, that I have been calling him names like that, maybe to a degree. But David, maybe anything to say to Paul Markey, or do you guys have any maybe opinions on Højbjerg? Maybe Mike, you were touching on it with Højbjerg. Do you feel like that's the case? He's surrounded by other players that just are maybe not on his level, so that's why we put Højbjerg at such a high pedestal?
No, I like Højbjerg. I think what Højbjerg brings to the team, he's a disruptor. He's great in the press. He's great in disrupting play, and he doesn't do anything fancy. He's not brought into the team to be an attacking, like an Eriksen type player, or he's not brought into the team to bang in 15, 20 goals a season. He's there to break up play, to disrupt the opposition, and then to give it simple to the players that are more creative, who create the chances for the team, etc. Right. And Højbjerg, and he's got a great engine on him as well. He's good in the tackle. He's got a good engine. He can pass. He's an animal. He's an animal. Every team needs a Højbjerg type player. Yeah. Just as I say, purely on the basis of him being able to press all over the pitch, run for 90 minutes, disrupt play, and then, as I say, win the ball back and give it to those players that are more creative. I think he's massively. He hasn't got an ego. He's there for the team. He does the ugly stuff. That's what he's there for. To do the ugly stuff. And I think, if anything, he's probably massively underrated in some ways.
You're singing from my hymn sheet now, Mike. I love that. I love to hear that. But Paul Markey, hopefully you got a good answer there. Maybe, Paul, what you were alluding to is just, I think if he had maybe more of those brilliant midfielders from years past, the Luka Modric's, the Musa Dembele's, even maybe a Wanyama in his prime, you might say, maybe Højbjerg would be kind of put maybe a bit more of an even playing field. But at the same time, I agree with Mike saying every team needs a Højbjerg, every team needs a Viking in their side.
He just thrives on doing the ugly stuff. I mean, if you've got a player that's happy to run, tackle, disrupt play, why wouldn't you have that in your team? There's no point putting Højbjerg in the back line because he's just not going to be good there. There's no point putting him on the wing. There's no point putting him up front. Put him in the front of the back line and let him do the pressing, the tackling, the disrupt. As I say,
I think you're right, Mike. Even David at one point was saying about Leandro Paredes, a guy from PSG. The reason PSG are having problems is because this guy Paredes was just someone that, always did the midfield dirty work that no one else wanted to do. And that's exactly what Højbjerg is. That's exactly what Højbjerg is.
It's like Kante at Chelsea.
But Kante at the same time is maybe just the best midfielder in the world.
There is. But in terms of the style of midfielder, he does the ugly stuff. Kante does the ugly stuff, and he does it very, very, very well. I mean, you could argue Højbjerg's not at that level, but their style of play, like in terms of the type of player they are very similar in that sense. Obviously, there's different levels and stuff, but that's just my opinion, though. That's my opinion.
No, I actually completely agree. But Paul Markey, I think he has an opinion that a lot of people probably have on Højbjerg. Yeah, David.
No, Paul Markey does. Look, I've seen a lot of this band around the last week or two, and look, people are well entitled to their opinions, and I can understand where they're coming from. But look, there's just not the midfielders in there to help him. This guy is a good, solid midfielder. I do think that. But look, big up Paul Markey. I really appreciate the support. But look, maybe let us know. Let us know in a bit more detail why you don't like Højbjerg. I just want to see. I just want to know.
Pick your brain. We want to pick your brain, Paul. Yeah.
Philip Brady says we are playing a team tomorrow that was only founded in 2012. The ground holds under 4,000. They will be up for the challenge if Spurs aren't. What would you say to Philip said? And big up Philip, by the way.
I agree with him. I mean, 2012, right? And look at Sheriff yesterday. It sums it all up. Playing the mighty Real Madrid. They've gone there and they've done a job, right? And at what point Madrid brought on the big guns and they still beat them. At the end of the day, it is down to whether our boys tomorrow are going to be up for the challenge. If they couldn't be up for the challenge in a North London derby, potentially one of the biggest games every season that Tottenham have, no matter for whatever reasons people want it to be, if you can't be up for that as a challenge, then tomorrow night you're going to be playing against a team like Philip is saying, founded in 2012 with 4,000 fans, they're going to be up for it, because for them, Tottenham is going to be a massive, massive scalp. And if they put in a performance and we are underachieving, can you imagine what it's going to be? The world is going to have a field day. Yeah. We'll never hear the end of it. And for us to stop this, we have to put the right team out tomorrow, and we have to go there and just put it all to bed. We are Tottenham, ladies and gentlemen. We are Tottenham. How dare you even think about coming to challenges and put a stamp on it and kill the game? Simple as, bring our Tottenham back. We are Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. That's all they got to put into their heads before they go out. We are Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. We wear this shirt and with a passion. We wear it with pride. Today is to do. Who are you lot? You're the challengers. You don't give us a challenge. And that's the mentality. It has to be that mentality.
Yeah.
There you go. And also, I kind of agree with Sid, because we saw that in the case of Paço de Ferreira. It looked like almost a university kind of crowd that was there, there to watch the game. But at the same time, they were celebrating like as if it were a cup final, and maybe we might have to come into terms with that, as a lot of these Europa Conference League teams, when they come up against Spurs or Roma as well, it's kind of going to be like a cup final, win or lose. They're just going to still put their hearts out there. They're going to still to go for it. And as much as we want to roll over these teams, flat track bully these teams to a degree, like we sometimes have to realize that they'll be playing out of their skin, most of these teams, because it is to a degree their cup final. Even Paço de Ferreira, you might even say, despite us smacking them the next time, they probably felt pretty happy with themselves, the way it went down in the first leg. They probably thought that was what they wanted. And I actually really agree with you, Philip. I really do agree with you. William Kelly saying, sorry, David, I disagree. His body language is not good, and it's not good within a team. He's talking about Harry Kane, by the way, guys. But David, I mean, what do you say to Harry Kane's body language? The hair whisperer, the Harry Kane whisperer. What do you say about that body language?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't look good. But look, if I'm in his position and I'm the best player in the team by far, right, creatively and finishing, and sometimes when the games are going the way they are and the ball's not coming your way and you have no faith they're going to get to the ball, it does throw you off. But one thing I will say is that's a shit mentality to have. How about go and grab your cojones, go and get the ball and make something happen? Right. That's what I would say to that. It's a catch-22 situation. You drop him, it might improve, it might not. And if you play him, he will get you goals. It's as simple as that. If you play him, he will eventually get you goals. Look, I'm not starting to think it's the players anymore. I'm actually starting to think it's the system, the way of playing. Wait, I better rephrase that. Look, the players' fault. It is the players' fault because they're not trying and they're being shit, right? But in terms of the system isn't good, the way of playing football isn't good. They're not responding to what the manager wants whatsoever. There's no one showing for the ball to take responsibility, saying, give me the ball. And that's why that was the result of lumping it long as well against Arsenal. There's all these factors. But look, I fully understand everyone's concerns. Look, maybe it's just my love goggles are on for Harry. And look, maybe that is the case, William, and I do hold my hands up and apologise. But we all have one player in the team. And I know you do, so let me know who it is, William. Let me know.
There you go, William. You got to expose maybe the player that you have a soft spot for. But then again, David, I say William Kelly seems like, a very level-headed guy, maybe a bit of a hard man as well. So he probably just looks at it all to a degree on a level playing field. But let us know, William Kelly. You got to answer, David. Don't have to do it in a super chat if you wouldn't like to, but just got to answer, David. He did just ask you, who's that player that you have that little soft spot for? Who's that one that you would want to tuck into bed at night? Give a nice kiss on the forehead too, basically. For me, it was Tanguy, but I would say, the last few nights I haven't sent him home with any burgers or ice cream. I've been very disappointed with him. So I would just say, who's that person you have a bit of that soft spot for? But now we're going to be moving on to maybe something that I was actually very intrigued by. I was very lucky to be going on to ask Sid, and Sid and I had a very, very interesting discussion about Dele Alli. And Dele Alli, we were asked everything, what's Dele's best position? Is Dele Alli making improvements this season? It's a lot of questions when it comes to Dele. And maybe, Sid, take maybe the last performance as well from Dele Alli maybe into perspective as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any new conclusions or thoughts on Dele Alli, maybe considering our last conversation about the guy?
So conclusions are, we know he's not been played in his best position. Yeah. And under Nuno, it looks like he's not going to be played in his best position. The game against Arsenal summed it up. Even I gave him a very low rating on Judge Judy, and I agreed. I think I gave him a 2 or a 3. Problem is, and we discussed this on Ask Sid, we've discussed this many times, his position is playing behind Harry Kane or sometimes just pushing forward ahead of him. We went into deep conversations ourselves about when Eriksen was there, he was looping that ball over, Dele was running on to behind Kane or whatever. We're not seeing that at all at the moment. And to play him on the right wing, to play him on the left wing, to play him in a 3 midfield positions that we've all disagreed on, that it doesn't work no matter who you play. It's now coming to that point now where if you're not going to play him when he wants to play, right, then I'd rather you not play him, because I know as a footballer, right, if your manager says to you, like, Jack, David, I'm sorry, you're not going to play in your favourite positions today. However, I have got position for you anywhere on the pitch. And you're going to say, yes, please, I'll play anywhere you want me to. I'll run around and I'll do whatever you want. Yeah, just put me on that pitch. I'll earn my money by just running around the pitch. No, I'd rather him not play than play in his position. Play him in his position or don't play him at all. And the problem is now, everyone on Dele's back, right? Everybody, every week in, week out, everyone's on Dele's back. I protect him every now and then, right? Because I want the real Dele that we saw in 16, 17 to come back. But if we don't play that position, he's never going to come back. And the more Nuno plays him, the more he's going to get hammered by the fans, right? Everyone's going to kill him week in, week out. You're going to have the haters, right? And after the last couple of games, I think you either play him in his desired position or you don't play him at all, because he's wasted.
Can I ask you, Sid, just to follow up on that? Sorry, Jack, sorry. But can I ask you, with him not showing up for 2.5 years, do you think he deserves just to walk in and be given playing in his natural position?
Exactly what I was going to say anyways.
Oh, sorry,
no.
my bad.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I don't think he deserves. I don't think he deserves to walk in and play in that position. But the problem we've got is when we lost Eriksen, right? We've never ever replaced Eriksen. Yeah, we've had all these Coutinho's going to come. We're going to get Lamar. We're going to get him. We're going to get him. We're going to get Aouar, Traore, everyone. We've not got anyone now. With the current squad that we've got, he is the next best thing we've got. And if that's the only thing you've got, and you've got a chairman who's not willing to pay you any money to go and buy a creative midfielder, then you've got to try your best and try and get him to play in that position and get him back to his best. Yeah. He hasn't got the God's-given right to walk into that team. No, I don't think anyone has. Harry Kane hasn't. Nobody's got the right to walk into any team whatsoever. And on his current form, no, he doesn't deserve the right to be. But if you can get him, I don't know how, somehow try and get him back to even 80%, 85% of what he was 3-4 seasons ago, then he may be able to walk straight in and say, yeah, I'm the man. But at the moment, no one's got the God-given right to walk into that Tottenham team. And I include anyone. I don't think there's anyone in that team at this current climate that can say I'm number one on that team sheet, apart from maybe Son.
Well, if you enjoyed Sid's passionate defense of Dele Alli, smash the subscribe button on Paxton Road here, guys. The link is in. Back to you, Jacko.
There it is, everybody. And also as well, if you wanted to check out maybe that, I thought maybe Sid and I on Acid covered every angle of Dele Alli. In fact, I was defending Dele Alli for maybe what Sid was even touching on, like trying to do whatever he could to get into the squad, you might say, maybe bulking up, the muscles, trying to be able to, cover more distance than any other players. But it seems like he's weirdly not even good enough to make the squad in that regard, as much as he's put up maybe the physical stamina kind of numbers and, has been able to track back and whatnot. Just felt like that last match just really kind of it's almost like he ruined all the good work that he was putting in before that. Maybe, the recency bias is always very, very much the case with me, but I would just say, at least in Dele Alli's case, it just felt pretty harsh to say all that, nice things about him. And then just to see that happen on Sunday, I would say really was very tough. Lightwork saying Kane's pace is shocking. He is too isolated, needs backup. I would definitely say we've always known that with the case of Harry Kane, though, is that, but maybe he makes up probably with that lack of pace, with being able to be one of the best distributors up front in world football. Can't probably name too many players that have that ability, maybe apart from like maybe a Totti or, even in Ibra, I wouldn't even say had the distribution that Harry Kane does. Even Lewandowski doesn't have, the distribution that Harry Kane does. And even some of those strikers that I just mentioned don't have a whole lot of pace at the end of the day. So when you do kind of think about it, it's just kind of sometimes the case with some strikers. They just don't have the pace and they make up for it in other ways. But yeah, I would definitely agree. He still needs someone else alongside him, still needs maybe someone that can help him out in those situations for sure. Light work. William Kelly saying, Darren Anderton was my favorite back. It was my favorite back in the day. Then it was Dembele. It was Kane, but he doesn't want to be here anymore, Dave. He doesn't want to be here no more. So I would say Dembele I've always had a soft spot for. I would say the best carrier of the ball I've probably seen in my entire lifetime. I mean, the guy would actually, I don't even know. He could hold like 4 shopping bags and then still hold back, 3 players beside him as well and still be able to carry the ball. Dembele still to this day have such a huge soft spot for. But David, anything to say to William Kelly's, players that he has a soft spot for?
Yeah, look, what I will say is, William, look, I was hurt like you, but man, open your heart again and allow Harry Kane back in. Just allow him. Look, what I will say is it could be the last season you might see the guy in a Spurs jersey. He will come good. And when he does, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it, William, and allow him back into your heart again. I know it hurts, but I know there's room in that heart, man. Just allow him in. And but look, I fully understand where you're coming from.
He's crying like you, Dave. He's crying like you. I think that's the case. William Kelly's just crying himself, maybe with the Captain Morgan, right under the pillow with him, Dave, like you said before. So William Kelly, do let us know.
We went through when the City rumours were floating about. Big up William, my man. What a legend. Darren Anderton.
Darren Anderton maybe enlighten us.
Underestimated.
Always injury prone. Good player, but always injury prone. Guys, Sid and Mike, you're just that wee bit older than me. Any memories from Darren Anderton? Maybe we can share with William Kelly.
Yeah, enlighten us.
Go on, Mike. I'll let you go.
I was a big fan of Darren Anderton. When he was playing for Spurs, I was probably about I was a young teenager. Let's put it that way. And he was one of my favourite players. Many games, he was. In fact, I'd go as far to say he was massively underrated as a player. He was Tottenham through and through. You could argue, well, he was only Tottenham through and through because he was injury prone and no one wanted to take a punt on him. But you could argue that the latter stages of his life, he did move on from Spurs. But he was good, technically very good footballer. I mean, he played in England for 1996 Euros. Yeah. He had a great tournament there in the games that he played. And the one thing that Darren Anderton always did, he always, when he was on the pitch, he always put 110% effort in. He was just very unfortunate, and the injuries held him back as a player, I feel. But yeah, I was a big fan of Darren Anderton. He played in the era that I was sort of well into my football as a youngster and stuff, and and he's a good bloke as well. I've met him a few times. I used to watch a lot of, when I was living back in London, I used to watch a lot of the reserves games, as it was known back then. It was in the late 90s, and Tottenham used to play at St Albans City, and quite often than not, you'd see players that are coming back from injury, players that have always playing sort of second fiddle. They'd always be playing at the St Albans City ground at the time. And you should see Teddy Sheringham, Dan Anderton, Stuart Nethercott, Jamie Clapham. You name, you could go through the whole list. Darren, was it Darren Huckabee? No, not Darren Huckabee. Darren Caskey. Loads of them.
Lots of class Darrens we've had in the past, I will say.
And I was just there as a youngster, starstruck. And what you did get back then, what you don't get now, is the players used to go up into the little bar area where all the fans that were watching, it wasn't, you're not talking thousands of fans. There was maybe a few hundred, but the players and the fans would all mingle after the game in the bar. But you don't get that no more. But yeah, different time, different era. But yeah, I certainly love Darren Anderton. Great player.
I had the pleasure of watching him quite a few times because I used to live up north, and every time they used to come, like Liverpool, Everton, Man United, Blackburn Rovers, I used to go and watch him, and honestly, you know that phrase. I was on the edge of my seat every time he got the ball. You was on the edge of your seat because you knew when he was running that wing, man, you could not stop him. He was so silky, skillful. He was, he was one of my best players at Spurs alongside Glenn Hoddle. I used to love watching Anderson. And then obviously the famous sick note came in his nickname, didn't it? Because like you said, he was always injured. But honestly, if we could have him back, what a player! What an absolute player!
And he could put a ball in the box as well. Like his delivery was
spot. I mean, his shots, his free kicks. He was, he, from the right, from the left. Oh, I mean that when he played for England in the Euros as well. Yeah, what you were saying when he nearly scored. He was just, you know what? I was so lucky. I had the privilege of watching Darren Anderson in a Spurs shirt. I was so thankful.
My old lad was a big fan of Anderton as well. He liked Anderton. Gaguma with the super sticker. It's a big thumbs up. Big up, Gaguma. Really appreciate it. What a legend. Hope things are well with you. And Kuva says the game is played on grass. I suppose Dele fits that. He plays like he's on grass. 100%. He plays in slow-mo as well. He looked like he was on grass in the Arsenal box anyway. He's that slow. Honestly.
He thought he had all the time in the world receiving it in the box. Yeah, thought he had all the time in the world, Dave, sometimes. Sometimes you want a player to be relaxed, but maybe not that relaxed, Dave. You might say, clearly the nerves, we're not there. But yeah, I would say Dele just needs to be a bit sharper. That's all I can say. William Kelly, though, saying I think he means Darren Anderton, maybe potentially. Yeah. He always gave 100%. Wish these prima donnas would do the same. Yeah.
Pay for the badge.
I couldn't say better myself.
Absolutely.
He loved the badge, in fact. He loved the club. Spurs through and through. And you can tell just through his performances.
But that's
even if it
gone by, Mike, people that genuinely played for the badge, people that genuinely cared about the result. And even if we didn't win, we gave it a crack. Yeah. Everyone put full maximum effort in on the pitch, and everyone gave it a fair crack. And at least we were exciting to watch. Compared to now, it's just
shocking.
I don't know, half of them, all these red zones and everything else, can't play because they're in the red zone. The only red zone they think they're in is Call of Duty, stupid. It pisses me off. But big up William Kelly. I really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. And Kuva, man. Great joke. I absolutely loved it. But look, Jack, I'll crack on with some more of these questions, my man. We're very slow getting through these today.
No. That's just because, honestly, I think we're kind of, reminiscing over maybe the good old days, which is exactly what we should be doing. That's exactly what we should be doing, just to cheer ourselves up. But guys, maybe considering, your previous answer from before, who is our best number 10 then? If we were to go back to that 4-2-3-1 shape, maybe that we're so, kind of have so ingrained inside maybe the club's, kind of minds as maybe even as well, the formation that they're probably very comfortable with. If we were to go back to maybe who that number 10 should be, if you had to pick right now, who would it be? Is it going to be Dele? Is it going to be Gio, Tanguy potentially? Or is it going to be maybe another like Bryan Gil or Lucas? I mean, I'm going to start with David in this scenario. Dave, who is your number 10?
Yeah, look, it's Bryan Gil, to be honest with you. I'm the biggest believer.
He's gone for the other.
Yeah, I've gone for the other. I'm a big believer. When I saw his face, I said I'm a believer. I have to. Look, for me, I think he's the long-term answer. I know he done a press conference today, Jack, and he did say, I do prefer to play off the left-hand side, but he'd play anywhere. A bit like what Sid was saying with the Dele Alli situation. But he did say I'd play anywhere I was asked. But look, I do think long-term he'll be a number 10. I think the way he plays is a bit like Luka Modric with a bit of David Ginola, that bit of French twist in it. Absolutely love it. And for me, it's just he's so intelligent, Jack. It's the way he goes into the pockets of space to receive the ball. How many players you've seen dropping into pockets of space to receive the ball? But not only that, when he receives it, Jack, he's standing there like he's not going to do anything and just drops the shoulder and he's gone. You absolutely love to see it. You know what I mean? But not only that as well, the guy has a good pass on him. He's got very, very silky feet. Very silky feet, honestly. It's like they're wrapped in Egyptian cotton, Jack. Beautiful. But look, we seen he had his best game. I think it was the second leg against Pacos de Ferreira, where he actually did play that free float at number 10 all across the front three. And Harry Kane really enjoyed playing with him. It looks like he came on against Arsenal. You'd have to say at least he tried when he came on. But not only, it's the energy he brings, Jack. I watched him in games. He's run offside, right? He hasn't received the ball when he's made the run. But then he's running back to try and get on the ball, try and get into another pocket of space to receive the ball. He's not lazy. We have too many players in this team that are static, that are lazy. It's like, oh, the ball's not coming my way. I don't care. You know what I mean? Throwing arms up and everything else. I hate to see that. At least with Gil, he just loves football. He just loves it, and he just wants to be on the ball. He wants to get on the ball, caress it, and make things happen. This guy would bring it home, kick his wife out of bed and sleep with it if he could. That's how much he loves playing football. And for me, I think long term, he is that answer for Harry Kane. He can put him in that sort of Christian Eriksen mode, but not only can he play the passes, I think, that Christian Eriksen used to provide, he also has that trickery where he can take on players and is a very good shot on him as well. And I do believe we should be going to a 4-2-3-1 just to fit him in that number 10 role and put Højbjerg and Skipp behind him, let them turn over ball all day long. But that also, in turn, by doing that, would help Reguilon massively. Reguilon's bombing on right now and being exposed defensively. But the reason why he's being exposed is because we're playing Dele Alli in the tree on that side, and he's also being allowed to bomb forward. But if you're going to play someone on that side of the midfield and you want your fullbacks to bomb on, you have to have a midfielder there to drop and cover that, like Pochettino used to do in the 4-2-3-1. So, look, I would definitely go with the Gallagher. I think he's going to be a very good player for Tottenham in years to come. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this season. I really do believe, and I'm at the point. I want to give these guys a chance. Why are we signing players for the future? We've seen this with Jack Clark, Ryan broken down, Sessegnon, can't get on the pitch. I'm fed up with it. You're going to buy players. You're going to improve the team. Put them in. Give them their game time. You know, that's why you're buying these players for. We didn't just pluck Gil out because he's crap. We plucked him because we believe he can do something at Tottenham Hotspur. And there should have been a plan there to fit him in there and get him to play. So if you're going to buy these players, put them in. Stop, like us fans, that's why we don't put enough pressure on our team to play these new signings. We all, when he's only 19, he can't do this, he can't do that. No, I don't care. There's players that have come through at 16, 17. If you're old enough, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And Gil is good enough. Get him in there. At least he cares, and at least he'll give you energy.
Yeah, I mean, there it is. I think that's a very good case, actually, made for Bryan Gil. You know, a lot of people in the comments are actually oddly saying, and maybe they're probably right, I would say, is in fact, we don't really have a number 10. In fact, you know, we've had a lot of tried and tested number 10s, but they're actually not there. Jody here, Spursy 141. Jody here from Paxton Road saying, big up Mike and Sid. How do we come back from this? Very low ratings in the courtroom for 3 weeks now. Guys, I mean, what have you said about maybe the ratings? How has Judge Jody maybe handled the court proceedings so far?
From my perspective, Jack, I think she's handled it very well. I've agreed with the sentencing and the
fair punishments.
Fair punishment, indeed. Fair punishment. Crime of the weeks. You can't argue. It's just I just find it difficult to sort of. It's hard to argue because of what we're seeing at the moment. It's hard to argue the ratings that she and the guests that have been on Jodie's show.
She's a fair and honourable judge. She's a fair and honourable judge.
If players are playing poorly, and whether it's Jodie or the guest, they've marked them accordingly. You can't. It's difficult to argue.
At the end of the day, it's your personal opinions on what you've seen. You're not looking at it on a bigger perspective. You're looking at it from your own eyes, and what you believe the performance merits is what you're giving them. People might agree, people might disagree, but it's your opinion, isn't it? It's what you think, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. And if they played shit, like we're all saying, then you've got to mark them. Just because you love the player, just because I don't love him, but just because I think Dele Alli is decent, I'm not going to give him an 8 or a 9 every week if he doesn't deserve it. If he deserves a 2, then he's going to get a 2. You know, so it's hard. If they start playing better and start winning games, maybe the ratings will go up.
There you go.
100%.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Jody, really appreciate the super chat. And as well, I would just say, I think you have been a very fair and honorable judge. I would just say, it's just the case of the club. It's the case of the players that, maybe the ratings have been so low, but maybe, you might just give a bit of a better sentence, maybe later where, maybe some of the court proceedings might go a bit fair, but everyone as well, please check out Paxton Road if you want to get, the very, the solid player ratings, the well thought out player ratings as well. The player ratings that you probably really want to see, right? The punishments you really want to see. So please, everybody, again, check out Paxton Road. I love that show. It's a great series as well, run by Jody over there. So big yourself up, Jody. Really appreciate the support as well.
And I just want to say, Jody, make sure you get me and Jack on for an episode. Let us into the courtroom.
We're not nice judges, though, Dave. I don't think we haven't passed the bar, Dave. We haven't been able to get our our court approval yet. So maybe she'll indoctrinate us in. But I would say, Dave, we're actually quite harsh judges maybe over here. So she'll have to maybe vet us in.
Yeah, she's trying to get Plan B in at the moment, which Nuno hasn't got, but she's trying to get Plan B in.
There you go, everybody.
We'll get you guys on.
Yeah.
We'll speak to her after the show. We'll get you guys on next.
Big up. Check out the show, though. Judge Jody on Paxton Road. Do check it out, guys. They are 30 away from 1,000. So if there is 30 people there that are not subscribed, please do get over there and smash the subscribe button, guys. Let's try and make it, even if we can make a little dent into it. Every subscriber is valuable, guys. So please do get over there.
There you go, Dave. There you go. And also, apparently, she's also said you've been summoned, Dave. So I would say maybe we spoke a bit too soon, Dave. We're going to have to show up to court maybe a lot sooner than we thought.
Do you want my suit on? Do I have to wear a suit?
You have to suit. Yeah, you have to suit. You've got to be suited up.
You got to be suited up. I'm going to dress in a full Diego Simeone.
No flat caps. No flat caps. Suited and booted.
Flat caps and pipes. But don't forget.
Walking like the Peaky Blinders.
I was gonna say we probably would dress like the Peaky Blinders. We're a bit criminal over here, I would say. I don't think it would go too well for us, Dave. I don't know if it would go too well.
Don't forget, it's the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Yeah,
we can't avoid the truth. We're running away from it.
Can't avoid the truth.
Gogama here saying Hill. She just seems to be also a leader as well, Dave. Also Gogama as well. I'll always love the emojis. Always love the super stickers, and also Gogama. I really do appreciate all the support as well as tuning in. Honestly, really do appreciate you. And Dave, she's a believer.
Yeah, she's one of the Believer foot soldiers. Look, we will turn the fan base into all being Believers, and then hopefully one day we can all 60,000 of us, 68,000 of us can all stand there one day and just sing, "When I saw his face, said I'm a believer." Hopefully we can all stand there and sing that. That's what I want.
I'll sort it out.
I think this transitions them perfectly, and also really big yourself, Gogama. Really big yourself as well. But Dave, this then moves on to the next question. Speaking of maybe some of the new signings, Nuno, for maybe some reason or another, hasn't really been playing. Maybe two of our very, I would say, kind of star signings, maybe to a degree, in the case of Christian Romero and Bryan Gil. Sid, I mean, you can take whichever player maybe you're most interested in for why maybe you feel like they haven't gotten enough playing time. Maybe you think they have gotten, a fair shout or fair opportunities, but why do you think it is maybe that we haven't seen enough of either Romero or Gil?
I'll do a bit of both. So we've paid 60 million for a centre back. We've been looking for centre backs all summer, all couple of seasons to replace Dyer and Sanchez. You went hell-bound to try and get Romero. You've done everything possible. You've dilly-dallied, and you've managed to get your man. You get your man, and then you're not playing him. What is all that about? You have to. Okay, he's new to the system. He's new to the country. He's got international. I don't give a flying monkeys what the regulations and the rulings are. You've just spent 60 million on one of the best centre-backs in Italy last season. A centre-back that handled Lukaku, who was one of the top strikers in that league, right? Mm-hmm. Now you brought him to the Premiership. You're struggling as a team. You've got centre-back you don't trust. Throw him in. He is an unbelievable defender from what I've read, I've seen. So you've got to bring him in. When are you going to wait? How long are you going to wait to bring him in? He needs to be in that team now. He needs to be in that team now, week in, week out. And he has to be that main man at centre-back. And we should be looking at who are we going to play with Romero, not who's Sanchez, Dyer, let's put Romero on the bench and bring him on when we're 3-1 down in the London derby. Oh, no, we won't bring him on. No, he has to start. So for me, I don't know what the problem is with Nuno. I don't know what he's holding on for. But now he's been at the club for over a month. He's had enough opportunities. He should be starting. He knows how badly we've done in defence last 3 games. So from now, his name should be the first on the list, and you should be building that defence around him. That's my on Romero. For Gil, I think I agree with what Dave was saying before about, you know what, everyone's saying, oh, he's young, he's this, he's that. Listen, if you're good enough, you're old enough. If you've got the talent, it doesn't make a difference what age you are. Look at Wayne Rooney when he first came into Everton, 16 years old. Same problem. He came out guns firing. We are crying out for a creative midfielder. Again, another player like Skipp, who plays with his heart on his badge.
Right.
As soon as he comes on, that North London derby, you know he wants that ball. He's finding the pockets. He's looking for that creativity pass. He's looking pass and move. He's constantly looking to get it going. If we're not playing well, we're crying out for somebody at number 10 or somebody to put that spark into the team. Gil is the man, because as soon as he comes on, I can see in his eyes, that he wants to do something and he wants to do it for the club. So for me, I think Nuno thinks Romero needs time embedding into the team, even though he was a top player last season. And I personally think he's trying to protect Gil because of the start that he's had. He's trying to protect him and he's trying to bring him on in bits and bats. I think it's time to unleash him. That's simple. Unleash him and let him be. Let him be the player he wants to be. And I tell you what, that, like everyone said, he will be a star. So you can't hold on to someone for that long. You've got to release him. Like what's his name said, please release me, let him go. You've got to release him. You've got to.
And maybe yes or no, Sid. Yes or no. I still need maybe a yes or no on this. Are you a believer? Maybe, and I know David wants to get an answer.
I'm definitely a daydream believer. Yes, I'm looking at him. Yes, 100%, 100%.
We got a convert, Dave. We got a convert
100%. Honestly,
the daydream believer.
Going on to Mike now. Mike, why is it maybe the case that we're not playing maybe either Christian Romero or Bryan Gil, like maybe Sid did so expertly? You know, he took on both at the same time, which I would say puts a bit of pressure on you, but maybe you feel more passionately about one, maybe more than another, that maybe hasn't been given enough opportunities, you might say, or maybe they have been given enough opportunities. How would you feel about it?
I don't think Romero's not playing because of his ability. I think it's a case that he's needing to adapt to the English game. He's needing to adapt to the style of play that Tottenham are employing at the moment. And he's gone from Italian league, which is it's slow. It's more of a tactical league than the Premier League. I mean, the Premier League is just literally non-stop. You have to be an athlete essentially to be playing in the Premier League. And even probably to a certain degree in the Championship. But I think it's just a case of Romero. He just needs. I think they just want to protect him insofar as just give him the time, get his fitness up, basically get him to a point where he can play 90 minutes, and he's comfortable with the pace and the physicality of the English game, because it is completely different to Italy. And the games that I've seen Romero play, you could argue that he's potentially just lacking that match sharpness. I think was it the second goal against was it Wolves?
Wolves.
I think a sharper Romero would have intercepted that pass, because I think Ndombele was fouled. I don't care what anyone says. That was a foul on Ndombele. Yeah, he may have been dwelling on the ball for too long, but it was a foul. But I think a fit Romero at that point would have seen that pass. Again, you could argue around the awareness. If he was aware of Matey Boy on his shoulder, I just think a fitter, sharper Romero would have intercepted that pass without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, that's what his game is, intercepting, and he would have read that pass probably like a book. I think because once you're a bit tired and you're lacking in that match sharpness, you're fatigued, you're not thinking as you would be if he was fully fit, etc. So I think with Romero, it's just down to match sharpness, getting match fit, and then I think you'll find him playing week in, week out, and it'll be a case like everyone said here. who will partner Romero. I mean,
Yeah,
it's obvious that he's going to be our number one centre back, because why would you spend the amount of money we have on him if you haven't got the intent of playing him sort of week in, week out. So yeah, that's what I think with Romero. With Hill, I think slightly different to you guys. I am a believer insofar as his talent is not in question. I think he's a massively talented player, but the way I see Hill, I see him as a very old-fashioned winger. He's very left. He's essentially he's only got one foot, and that's on his left, but he's very good at it. And for me, if he was going to be utilised at Tottenham, with a number 10, or your creative midfielders, you'll find that they can ping a ball with their left or their right foot. I don't think I completely get the case for him being a number 10, and i.e. his movement. He's always wanting the ball. He's quick, and he's creative. Like the creativity in him is there. But for me, and this is, as I say, this is just my opinion, I think for us to get the best out of him, certainly for this season, it might be a case that he does develop and he could turn into a number 10 further down the line. But for me, in his first season, especially, if we're going to play him in his favourite position, where he knows what he wants to do, where he's used to playing, because he plays there for Spain in the under-21s, and he's played there for a few times for the senior team. But me, I'd play him on the left. And the question would be, if he does play on the left, where'd you play Son? And this is what Nuno's got. This is the whole thing with Nuno. Like, he's got to work out. Like, I would probably start Hill in the games where I think we should be on the front foot. I wouldn't have started against Arsenal. I wouldn't have brought a player on of his age. I wouldn't have thrown him into that mess. I would have been like, you know what? I'm going to save you for another day, because it's a performance that, and it's an atmosphere I just don't want to bring a young lad who's come into this country, who is heavily talented. I don't want to ruin him playing in that derby. It's just nonsense. Like, save him for another day. And I would play him in games probably whereby we should be on the front foot, which you could argue Aston Villa could be a good game to play him in. I mean, I'd certainly want to see him on Thursday without a shadow of a doubt. Give him 60 minutes. He needs minutes under his belt to get that match sharpness. But for me, I see him. Do you know? I tell you, the player that he reminds me a lot of. He reminds me of a young Ryan Giggs, where he's the old-fashioned winger. He just wants to beat the man, get to the byline. And you see it whenever he gets there. He's looking for Kane, who's in the box. Yeah. If he hasn't got anyone in the box, then he'll try and take that man on and then look for someone, like, because you'd hope that the player's running in late
too, like Giggsy.
Yeah. And this is why I think Kane, like, was it Pacos that they both played in? I think it was Pacos where they both played in, and you could see Hill as soon as he got to that byline, he's looking for Kane. And I think it was like the first goal we saw, the link up between him and Kane. I think Kane ended up notching, and I think that's probably why Kane enjoys playing with him, because of that. I think he knows that if he gets the ball, he's going to hit the byline and he's going to be looking for Kane. And again, this goes back to the point of Nuno. If he's playing this 4-3-3, Kane's just going to end up playing deeper, trying to spread that ball as if he's a number 10. And he's not going to hit that box in time, because he ain't going to keep up with Hill, or he ain't going to keep up with Son or Bergwijn or whoever it is. So this is where he's going to earn his money, because he's got to work out what the best formation, what the best sort of philosophy in terms of our style of play is going to be. Because if we want to get the best out of Kane and get him back scoring, which he is always slow, then he's going to have to, as I say, change the formation, because 4-3 is not going to work. And as I say, with regards to going back to Hill, I think if you start Hill, you've got to find, well, where's Son going to play? Because you've got two great players, or I say great. you've got one great player in Son, and you've got one player that's got massive potential to be just as good as Son in the future, who is raring to go. But yeah, it's where you fit them in. And I don't know. I don't know I honestly, Tottenham are baffling me this season because I just don't know the answers to what I think Nuno should do. I just. It baffles me. It baffles me.
You say you don't have answers, Mike, but you certainly brought up a few. And as well, I would say, you certainly brought up an insightful answer there. And just so David isn't disappointed, I need to ask you, I think you brought up maybe the good and bad of Bryan Gil, but are you still a believer?
Yes.
Oh, me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I am. There's no shadow of a doubt. He is a baller, but as I point out, it's just where you fit him in. And right. I mean, it could be that Son could be, and going back to one of the previous questions, just very quickly, it could be that Hill plays out on the left, and you could find Son maybe playing a bit closer to Kane, or playing on the opposite flank.
Sonny's very good with both feet, and I would say even as well, Bryan Gil could also learn to become kind of like a Riyad Mahrez or like an Arjen Robben, and they can easily cut in on the left, and you just continue to cut inside that ways. But before I get to David on maybe why these players aren't being played, Jerome here is saying, sorry Mike, I disagree. You bring these kind of players in that derby because he can prove that he deserves to play. He'll show he wanted to prove a point to be picked first. He did make a solid impact the moment he came in, but maybe we're already 3-1 down or 3-0 down.
Oh, this is it. We were 3-0 down at the time, and I get the message and thinking behind that. But any sane manager you're not gonna bring him on because you're setting him up, especially the way Tottenham are playing. You're setting him up for failure because what's he going to get if you've got 10 players or 9 players and you're coming on? If you're not getting a tune out of the other 9 players, no matter what you do, you're just going to get disheartened because you're going to be like, well, hold on a minute.
The thing is on that, Mike, though, is like you bring in Romero, that'll change what happened at centre back. You bring back in Skipp, that's another player in his position. You bring in Gil, a player who cares. So I think the point is that maybe you're narrowing down the players that really don't care or players that have been crap, and you're bringing in players that do care and that have been playing well when given the opportunity.
I think in regards to the game at the weekend, and I'm not going to mention the opposition's name because
please don't. I only got over it there yesterday.
Yeah, I'm never going to mention the name, but Nuno should have changed it as soon as like the first 5-10 minutes. You could see the formation was just killing us. We weren't set up to sort of bring to a challenge that we were expecting against Arsenal. Yeah. Like you got 3 in midfield and you're playing against 5. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to work out that's just not going to happen because you're going to get overrun, and that's why I thought the back 4. I thought they were heavily criticised, but I do think that some of it was a little bit unjustified because if your midfield the midfield was non-existent. I mean, from the first 5-10 minutes, you could see that midfield was just not there. Now, if you're 4-on-4 and it's constant, like literally, it was like they just broken out of jail and they were just bombarding our back line. At some point, on the balance of probability, you're going to get a choice. You're going to get chances on goal, and if you hit the target, again, if you hit the target and you hit it well, you've got a great chance of scoring, and that's what happened. I mean, you could argue like the first goal, for example, David Sanchez should have got tighter, but where was the midfield? Like,
no, I agree with you. Look,
it's painful.
No, I agree with you. Look, me and Jack done an expose on it last night. With the tactics board and that, Mike, and 100%, you're right in what you're saying. Look, the midfield, it exposed the defense. We were saying that. I fully agree with you there. Jerome, look, if it's any consolation, I agree with you as well, though, on this point, my man. Look, for me, I would be playing the likes of a Hill in a derby. If the other players clearly aren't up for it. Look, I get the argument is he came on and played well when we were 3-0 down, but he could have went hiding like the rest of them. He didn't. He genuinely tried to make an impact. And every time he's played, he's more or less tried to make an impact. He's trying to make the most out of the chances that he's been given. And for me, I just think we need to start getting these players in because we keep playing some of these same players. We're changing a manager for them because they're crying about managers. And then all of a sudden, the new manager comes in. After a couple of games, you're back to the same crap. So, look, for me, I'm of the opinion now, whoever comes into the club, new era, get them in there and let's kick it off and see what happens. But Jerome, big yourself up, my man. Really appreciate the support.
Very nice of you, Jerome.
Everyone else, make sure you absolutely obliterate that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you're new, guys. The big push for 4.3K is on. We're about 12 away. And look, why not, like Jerome, skip the queue with a super chat, and it's a great way to help support mine and Jack's hopefully rise to the top if we ever get there. But it would be a great way to support us though, guys. And of course, Paxton Road TV, guys, not much off 1,000 subscribers at all. If you could get over there, smash that like button or the subscribe button on their channel as well, and help them on their route to 1,000 subscribers. And we have Sid back, big up Sid. But Jack, look, fire on with the next question, my man.
This is maybe the big one of the night, maybe the one that's even the title, you might even say, of this one, Dave, and, Dave, would you like to maybe start this one, or maybe we should give it to Sid, Dave? This is a very tough question. I want to delegate who should go first on this one, Dave? I want you to decide. Do you want to take this first?
No, look, Sid's been missing in action. We'll let Sid back in. We'll ease him back in gently, and then I'll take it out.
This is not a way to ease him back in gently.
Ease him back in gently with this question.
This is not a way to do it. But that's just like, we'll play around it. Well, Sid, you're getting in hot and heavy. You're being given a hospital pass, you might say, in this situation.
Listen, I wasn't there on camera, but I was there listening to everything that was going on. So yeah, please ease me back in. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There you go, Sid. Who's to blame for this run of form? It's Nuno or the player? It's simply said, but maybe not simply answered.
Okay, so I'd add a third person into this equation, right? And that would be Mr. Daniel Levy.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so I'd blame him. He's got to blame him because there was a list of players given to him by Paratici and whoever the potential manager was. We knew who was needed and who wasn't. Prime example, Tomiyasu. I don't know what happened with that 18 million done deal. He's coming to us after the Olympics. Yeah, we've got him. It's all done. Everything's done. Everything's agreed. Wages is done. Everything's done. Yeah, no problem. And then a month later, where is he? Oh, yeah, he's coming. Where is he? Yeah, we're just doing this. We're doing that. And then he goes to the oppositions. So, and then we would go and pay double the price on Emerson Royal. Going back to the players or the coach, I think it's both. I'll go with the manager first because he's tactically hasn't got a clue at the moment what system to use. He's trying to use a system or tried that at Wolves, it worked for him because he had the players to do it. He hasn't tried it at Spurs because I don't think he believes that the players are good. Well, can't do it. Secondly, the system he's playing 4-3-3. He's never played that at Wolves and he's decided to play at Tottenham with players that don't suit them positions, and it's completely not worked. The players, I think, haven't. How can I word it? The players are responsible because they haven't stepped up. We've got a new manager in. You've done this to Mourinho. You've done this to Pochettino. We've kept almost 80% of them same players. And how can you keep players that didn't deliver for two managers previously, and you're still keeping them players, expecting a new manager to come in who's come from a lower league club, right? Hasn't won much. He's a goalkeeping coach, and all of a sudden now everyone's saying they've down tools. The players have never stepped up. They've not listened to what Nuno wants them to play. I think apparently against Arsenal, if I'm correct, Nuno's turned around and said some of the players didn't follow my instructions. I gave them one set of instructions. They've gone and done their own instructions. So at the end of the day, these are professional footballers. You're playing for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. You're getting paid a wage to go and do your job on the pitch. If I went to do my work at my workplace and I didn't do my job, I'd be sacked. I'd be taken into that office and I would have been told, listen, you're paid to go and do this, that. You're not doing that. Why are you not doing it? I don't want to do it. I don't like you. Get out of the door. Yeah. Right. I'll give you a quick prime example. Where I work at the moment, our managing director, when they had a meeting with all the managers, right, all the top managers, and he said, right, this is what we've got to do. I've been told I have to do it. you guys, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't, fuck off out the door. That's his words to his directors. Fuck off out the door, right? But he said, but before you go, there's free food laid out. Eat the food, then go. Right? So, yeah, that's what he said to them. So at the end of the day, you're paid to do a job.
Yeah.
If you don't like the manager, tough shit. Go and do your job that you're paid to do. So at the moment, I'm blaming both sets of players and the manager. The manager now, I think, needs to grow a big pair of balls, and he needs to now say, right, listen, I'm the manager. You do as I say. If you don't do it, then he's going to have the courage. I don't care if it's Harry Kane. I don't care if it's Hugo Lloris. I don't care if it's Dyer. If you don't listen to me, if you don't follow my instructions as a manager, I'll drop you, and I'll bring in players like the Gils and people like that, the young under 23s that want to play. So I would I'd blame both the parties, but the biggest culprit, obviously, everyone knows who the biggest culprit is, but we can't blame him because obviously he's untouchable, and no matter what we say, he's going to go and do what he wants to do anyway. But it's both of them. We've got too many egos in that dressing room, and we've got too many players that should have gone, haven't gone. We've got to deal with that. But now it's down to the manager now to sit down and say, right, I'm the boss. This is how it's going to go.
Would you agree with maybe this ratio then? Maybe brought up by not this David right beside me, but another very talented David, you know, in the chat here. What would you say? Do you agree with that ratio?
I agree with that. 50% is Daniel Levy, 100%, and 25% players and 25% manager. You can't blame the manager more than the players, and you can't blame the players more than the manager. I think that is correct. It's a bit of both, and Daniel Levy gets half the blame, and then it's split between the other two. I totally agree.
There it is.
Yeah.
Now, David, I feel like, maybe you would like to take this now. It is the title of the show, or should we hand it off maybe to Mike until maybe you wrap it up?
Nah, look, I'll take it because Mike might be a bit more positive than me, so I'll take this one first. Look, for me, I disagree with this ratio slightly by David. Don't disagree with the name. It is name of winners, but just the ratios. Look, for me, the reason why I say that is because a lot of these players have been here a lot longer than the manager, so I'll give some of these players more of a blame, to be honest with you, in that regards. Because, look, under Pochettino, he became too stale. Under Mourinho, he wasn't, telling them what they wanted to hear. And, now under Nuno, they apparently they don't like him. He's not a great manager. But at the end of the day, it's their careers on the line. Do they not understand this? Do they not want to take control of their own careers? Look, there's many clubs in the Premier League that go through managers like that, but the players still perform. They still perform because they take it upon themselves. Look, the problem is at Tottenham Hotspur, there's a number of problems. Look, the massive one is the owners, right? They've allowed these players to stay here for so long. They haven't put the right... Not that they haven't spent money, because they have. That's out there. They do spend a bit of money, but it's what they're spending the money on. They're not doing the due diligence on the players. So the great Sir Alex Ferguson, it went beyond what sort of player he is and beyond stats. He wanted to know what sort of person they were. He built a team of solid professionals, and you put 2 or 3 renegades in around them and you let them be the loose cannons, whatever, right? But so massive, massive problems with the owners. Then you go to the players, and I'm including Harry Kane in this too. Look, so many times, league finals, League Cup semi-finals, FA Cup semi-finals, going for the league, Champions League final, bottled every single one of them. And since that cycle, they will not step up and take responsibility. They have an excuse for every manager that has been brought into this club. Even the great Pochettino, who brought them to the heights that some of these players will probably never, ever reach again. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, look, for me, I just think we have a bad crop of players, and we were never, ever going to get rid of them all in one window. The fact that we got rid of 7 or 8 of them, I think was a good stab. But the problem is the club's rotten to the core, and we need to get rid of more of them. Until Winks goes, been here since he's a kid, hasn't nailed down the starting spot. Only when we sold Moussa Dembele that January transfer window, and then he got the run on the way to Champions League final. Ben Davies been here 8 years, never once nailed down the left back starting spot. Doherty was brought in. He's a gooner anyway, and he's shit. Get him out. Dyer, how long has he been here? He's always been out with bronchitis or whatever, appendix, whatever, stupid injuries. I'm fed up with him. Get him gone. You know, to the core of this club, it's wrong. Even you look at the manager situation right now, and I said this a while ago, that it's not right. It's not right that you have Paratici and Hitchin sitting beside the players, talking to them and barking orders and everything else. Right? When we were winning, it was great, you know. Oh, yeah. Oh, but look at the passion. We love to see it. But I did say a few weeks ago, it's not right. In any management structure, it's not right. You should be up there where Daniel Levy is and let him do his job on the pitch. You know, if you're the players, right, and Hugo Lloris also made a statement about Paratici saying that he's always around, keeping an eye on things, monitoring things. But if you're the players, who are you going to take the order from on the sideline, Paratici or Nuno? You're going to take it from Paratici because he has the power to get rid of you. This is the problem. So, like, who's actually giving the orders? Is Nuno saying one thing and Paratici and Hitchin are there saying other things? It's not right. How can Nuno be allowed to do his job when he has that guy barking over his shoulder, knowing he also has the power to get rid of him? It's not right. You have to allow the manager to manage. You have to allow him to build a rapport of players, not have the players going around half afraid of Paratici, barking orders and everything else. Look, keep him on the football side of things. That's what we want. But, like, you know, observe things from a distance. If you see players being a problem in and around the club or just not training, whatever it else may be, keep that. When the transfer window comes around, turn around, tell him what he's after to, and you're gone. Make statements. We're not doing this at this club anymore. You know, you're coming here, you're going to put in your hard work, you're going to earn your fucking money, and you're going to put performances in for those fans who no matter what time it is around the world, wake up and tune in and watch you guys. And this is the problem. A lot of the problem is the players, but it all stems from the very, very top. They've allowed it to get stale. Yeah. But the problem is the players. You can bring in whatever manager you want. Unless these players start fucking, you know, pulling their finger out their arse, we're going to keep going through this cycle. You keep seeing it. We get a new manager in, it's all rosy for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden, things go shit. Instead of them taking accountability and responsibility and fronting up, even coming out and saying, yeah, look, I know we were shit. You know, we were poor today. That's not going to happen next week. You never, ever hear that. It's always excuses. Yeah. Even Reece the other day, oh, we just have to give Nuno time. No, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Put in the performances, not giving managers time. We shouldn't be having these discussions if you were earning them big bucks that you've been put on. You know what I mean? And this is the problem at the club. I've actually had enough of it. I've had enough of watching shit football for the last 3 years. I've had enough of it. Players that are moaning about managers, players that are crying about things. I don't care. Like I said, you're seeing them at the James Bond premiere. You're seeing Dele Alli on Instagram. Take your hat off if you want Joseph hat. All this shit. Screw it all. I don't mind you doing that if we're winning games, but when we're not winning, get on the fucking training pitch and put it right. Get us the results that week so we can sit here and we can praise the living crap out of you guys. That's what we want to be doing. But things are not right at this club. From the top to the very bottom, there's no leadership. Everyone's always passing the buck. Daniel Levy's passing the buck to Enoch's passing the buck to Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy is paid to be a front man. He's paid to take the slack. And he's going to keep doing it because he's on massive money. He also owns part of Enoch and involved in all of that sort of stuff, right? Yeah. Then Daniel Levy, he's passing the buck to Steve Hitchin and Paratici. Paratici's passing the buck on to the manager, and the manager ends up taking the blame, and the players pass the buck to the manager. There's no one standing here ready to take accountability. And the reason why the manager's always the one to go is because it's the cheapest option every single time. And it's the easiest option. Get the manager, get the next one in. Rather than someone sitting there analysing the club from the outside in and finding the root of the problems and start addressing them. It's a massive problem at this club.
There you go, Dave. Honestly, very perfect.
That is how you close a show.
That's how you close it right there. There you go. Where took it away, Dave. I took almost a Golasso, Dave. A Golasso in that case. That's a Puskas right there, Dave. That's a Puskas award winner. There you go. Mike, I mean, would you rather we just move on? Anything else to say in this regard? Nuno? Is it the players? Is there maybe a certain person up above? How do you feel about it?
What can you say after that speech? You can't. It's difficult.
Like following up an Oscar speech.
That is an Oscar speech. I mean, fair play to David on that. He's pulled that one out of the bag. I don't even know where I'm going to go with this. Right. Firstly, I do agree with everything that David's just said. The club is rotten to the core. I can't see how, like, where do you even begin with the issues that we have at the club? It's got to that point where where do you begin? Where would you actually begin with the club? You could say, right, the first thing you do is you attack the board because essentially they're in control of everything. But you're talking about a multi-billion-pound machine, and who's going to?
That's running for profit.
Exactly. Who's going to listen? What person, like whether it's Daniel Levy or Joe Lewis, worth billions of pounds, heavily invested in the club, why are they going to listen to anyone? Unless someone pays them the money that they want for the club, it's just never going to happen, is it? So the only thing we can hope for, and I think David did mention this before, is that we see reform. That's probably the most realistic thing that we can hope for at present is reform. What that reform is and how it'd look, to be fair, that's probably that's another topic for another stream for another day. But for me, at the moment, I'm gonna say that the issues that we've got as a team, I'm blaming Nuno because I think he's totally setting us up completely wrong. I mean, you look at the 4-3. I've mentioned this on many streams, but a lot of it on Paxton Road, and I keep saying this: 4-3-3 is just killing us. I mean, the fact that Nuno's not learning, whoever he plays in that midfield three, you could have the bloody, I don't know, whoever it is. It's just not going to work. Regardless of the combination, it is never going to work in a million years because we haven't got those type of players to fit that formation or this philosophy that Nuno's all of a sudden wanting to play. I mean, I think Sid mentioned before, I hadn't seen him play 4-3-3. If he did, it was very rarely at Wolves. Normally he was playing with like a 3-5-2 or a variation of 3-5-2. But I'm blaming Nuno on this at the moment because I think he's learning in some ways insofar as, okay, this combination hasn't worked this week, so I'm going to try a different combination. This combination hasn't worked this week, so next week I'm going to try a different combination. But as I said, regardless of the combination that he's using, it's just not working. I mean, it's not rocket science when you've got two number 10s in the midfield against Arsenal at the week. Why did he think? And he's used it. It's not the first time he's played Dembele and Dele in the same midfield three. He's asking Dele Alli, who is naturally a player that wants to be in and around the opposition's box. He's now saying to him, right, I don't want you to be that type of player anymore. You're going to be a box-to-box midfielder. Well, that isn't going to work for Dele Alli overnight. It's going to take him time to get used to that formation, get used to that style, get used to what the manager's now wanting from him, which he's not done at Tottenham I don't think he's ever done it for Tottenham, i.e. being that box-to-box midfielder, having more responsibility defensively. I mean, how many times did we see him against Crystal Palace where he was sort of in our box defending, clearing balls off the line? That's not Dele Alli. So to give the lad a fighting chance, play him in a position that he's comfortable with, that he knows, i.e. put him up. I mean, if Nuno, there was talk about Nuno wanting to play with two strikers. Okay, we didn't get the second striker that we were apparently in the market for. Well, Dele Alli is capable of banging in 18 goals, whatever it is. Play him further up the top to Kane. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, give Dele a fighting chance. I mean, he's not a box-to-box midfielder. So playing him in the midfield three with Ndombele, who's very similar insofar as defensive. Ndombele is not the type of player to help us out defensively. You saw it against who was it? Chelsea. The second goal. The ball came into the box. Ndombele trying to defend a corner. He got bullied and we conceded a goal. I don't want to see Ndombele in our 18-yard box defending set pieces. you're better off putting Kane back in the set piece, defending the corner, or defending a free kick, and leaving Dembele further up the other end in case we get a breakaway. But and this is where like Dembele, I feel that he's probably the most talented player we've got at the club, but he's playing in a formation that just doesn't suit him. I mean, where we go back to that number 10, for me, that's probably Ndombele that I would put as a number 10, because it sort of relieves him of a defensive duty. If we play the 4-2-3-1 formation, for example, like David mentioned, you've got Skipp and Højbjerg. You can kind of give Ndombele a free role if you've got like that 4 and the 2 in a double pivot. But again, it's down to the formation, and I can't. I just feel Nuno is. It might be that he's trying to appease like the fans by playing or trying to play an attacking lineup where he's got like essentially 5 attackers, but it's killing us because we're being exposed at the back. And I mean, when was the last time Tottenham conceded 3 goals in as many consecutive games? I can't remember it.
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
We almost actually broke a record in that case. It's the worst kind of record.
Embarrassing. So you look at the Palace game. Yeah, okay. There's instances or there's reasons why we conceded 3 goals. You could argue that we had a man sent off, we had Dyer injured, we had players in confinement or whatever it is, can't come into the country, so they've got to stay out in Croatia. So there's mitigating factors for us losing it. Chelsea, it's like the first half we were pressing. We had a game plan and it was working, but you're not going to be able to press for 90 minutes. So why not at half time think at some point we could blow out here? Let's change the formation and make us solid so we're difficult to beat and go for a draw, which against Chelsea would have been a great result. If we managed to get a 0-0 or 1-1, brilliant result. But the changes that he made, and you can argue that, okay, at half time, Chelsea made the changes, the tactical changes, and Nuno kind of didn't realise, or he didn't have enough time to see the changes that had been made and sort of make his own tactical changes itself to try and counter what Chelsea had done. But he's just not. I just don't feel he's learning. I mean, against Arsenal, he set us up 3 against 5. What?
There you go.
You're playing in. We haven't got a good record at Arsenal. It's not. Again, Nuno should do his homework. We haven't got a good record at Arsenal, so why leave us exposed in a midfield 3 where we've conceded 3 goals against Chelsea, 3 goals against Crystal Palace? Arsenal go with a 5-man midfield. Well, straight away you're outnumbered, so you're going to get overrun. But he didn't change it. Like after 10 minutes, change it. You can see the issues that we're having. If you don't want to make subs or anything because you think, it's a bit too early, well, say to Dele Alli, look, for the next 25 minutes, I want you to sit in a double pivot with Højbjerg and just see us out to half time and just keep it tight and compact, and then we'll make the changes at half time. But no, he just lets us get bombarded, and I'm blaming it on Nuno at the moment. And and this is unlike me because I do like to see, or I do try to see like the
where
positives.
The manager is coming from.
Exactly. And I get that he's not had time to implement a philosophy that he wants to see us. But I'm fed up with it. Like David mentioned, and Sid and yourself, Jack, I'm fed up with us sort of the last 4 years, wherever it is, we have played crap football. And after a season with Jose and then having Mason in, I'm done with I'm just
it hurts
done
to blame
with
the manager
football.
anymore.
It does hurt to blame the manager, but I just feel he's either out of his depth, or what he's wanting to do for Tottenham, what he's wanting to implement in Tottenham, he hasn't got the players.
There you go.
I'm going Nuno, and as I say, I'm doing this because I'm fed up of just, as I say, crap football. We had it under Mourinho. Why do us Spurs fans deserve the crap that we're getting? I'm just done with it. I'm done. I'm going with Nuno.
I think that's a brave answer,
He's in
Mike.
charge. He's in charge. If I was the manager of Tottenham, I'd be taking full responsibility. And I would like to think that if 4-3-3 is not working, I would like to think that I've got the brain capacity to think, right, hold on a minute, this formation isn't working. I think we've got the players. I actually think we have a decent squad. But you've got to give these players a bit of a fighting chance, i.e. play them in their favourite positions or play them in a formation that suits them. But, yeah, I'm going Nuno on this.
There you go. I mean, Mike, I think that's a very brave answer, actually. And I think a lot of people in the chat would agree with you. Yeah, Sid.
Yeah. I was going to say, Mike, Sid? I've only got one thing to say to you. Don't blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on the boogie. Blame it on Nuno.
There it is. Lighten it up, at least. Lighten it up.
I inspired Sid to bring some songs today.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, Brad Matthews. You have your competition, Brad Matthews. In case you're listening, you got Sid. You got Sid, our vocalist, or the Harris Army vocalist. Jerome saying, David, we could say as well, no Paratici on the sideline. We lost 3 games in a row. I am so confused with this team, to be honest. I've actually been seeing that as a new thing in the case of Paratici, where Paratici, a lot of people don't like to see him on the sidelines. It's been brought up before where I've related it to in the case of Bayern, maybe they have that guy Hasan Salihamidzic who just sits on the sidelines, wears even the manager's kind of coat even as well. It doesn't even look very different from the manager. And you see him almost celebrating more than the manager sometimes. It's always a bit weird. It just seems to come off a bit strange. And, even recently in the case of Hansi Flick left because Hasan Salihamidzic kind of got too much into his head. And in fact, at one point on the team bus, he told him in German to shut the hell up. So it's just, it just shows maybe that I wouldn't probably think that's the case with Nuno, but maybe it just shows actually it does get into managers' heads, probably gets into players' heads, seeing the director of football that close to them. But at the same time, which one do you want? Do you want the director of football sitting up with Daniel Levy, having a nice brunch, while the players are losing 3-0? Or would you rather see Paratici sitting down in the cold and the rain with the rest of the players? I think, there are two ways of looking at it. There are two ways of going about it. But David, what would you say to Jerome?
No, look, I would just say it's not right. Look, you don't see what's that guy Woodward. You don't see him at United sitting down with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the rest of the squad. You don't see you don't see you won from Chelsea doing it, and it just doesn't happen. It's not normal. And if the squad does need that much babysitting, well, then you know what to do with them. Get them the fuck out. It's that simple.
He might just be there, Dave, so that maybe Dele isn't playing Fortnite on the bench, or maybe, Tanguy isn't ordering any Uber Eats maybe on the side or something like that. Maybe that's what it is, Dave. Maybe that's what it is. But Faz Radford saying, crazy to sack, especially if no one decent is lined up. I think that's actually a good point as well.
Yeah,
a lot of people brought that up. Yeah,
I was going to say that as well, Jack. The problem you've got is if Nuno isn't the man for Spurs, then you're just going around and it's just a round circle, and you're just going around in circles and circles. He's not right for the job, let's sack him. 6 months later, no, he's not right for the job, sack him. At some point, that circle has to break. And this is the problem. And that comment there, just that it's true. If we were to get rid of Nuno, and I really do think that if he loses by another 3 goals against Villa, I honestly don't think there's going to be. He's not got many days left in him in the Spurs job.
Might be Jurgen Klinsmann time after that, or Ryan Mason time after that. Who knows? I kind of agree.
Problem, though,
still, he only has so many games left. David saying, great rant, Dave. So many players with a shit attitude. Enough is enough. Who do they think they are? Still calling for Sonny's dad as coach. Shows how it's done. We said this before. I don't even know if Sonny's dad would have even let them out of the dressing room after halftime, maybe on Sunday. I think also as well, he probably would have gave them that motivational speech, even maybe that motivational lesson before the match, saying, listen, there are a lot of fans out there that won't accept the sort of performance that they put out there. So I really do agree with you, David, as well. I think that comment, you know, honestly, it might even be as well maybe a certain coach, at least a trainer that we know maybe should be out there, because we know that, you know, if Sonny can handle it and made Sonny the player he is today, certainly probably would like to see maybe Sonny's dad maybe give Tanguy a few lessons or two, or Dele a few lessons or two. Like to see how that would go, maybe how many laps he would make them run around the track. But there you go, Dave. I mean, what do you think of maybe fellow David saying that Sonny's dad should come in?
Look, definitely put him in there. You know, if there's fitness problems, you know, just give him to Ndombele. Ndombele won't be long about, you know, getting fit. I can tell you that. You know, because he wouldn't take that shit. And even the way he, you know, not control Sonny, but there's only a certain amount of furniture in the house. We all seen it on the Sensational documentary, crazy stuff. But maybe some of these players need it. Maybe big baby Ndombele needs one. You know, Dele Alli could do with one. Maybe he could get, you know, it's just ridiculous. But look, I have to say, Dave, that was a rant I was proud of. And if I die, I'll die happy after getting that one out. Honestly, I just passed out, went for it, lad, and it sounded good. So I appreciate it, my man. Really appreciate it. What a man, Dahi. But look, Jack, we'll keep moving, my man. Let's keep motoring on. And everyone, make sure you are smashing that like button. Make sure you're smashing that subscribe button. And look, feel free to get in a super chat too to help support the channel, guys. And make sure you get over and check out Pax and Roll TV. Trying to get them over the 1,000 subscribers tonight. Let's see if we can even chip off a couple off the block.
Absolutely.
And here is the link here, guys, in the chat.
There you go. It's in the chat, everybody. Let's get them over 1,000 tonight, please. And thank you. Let's get them over 1,000. It's a crime they weren't there already. So might as well just let the Harris Army be that final wave that pushes them over, you know. But I mean, this has been brought up a lot by the panel tonight. In the case of maybe, should we switch to a back three or back five? You know, do we continue to perfect maybe this back four system, this flat 4-3-3? Maybe we switch to the 4-2-3-1 that's been brought before that, you know, is so near and dear to us. But what do you guys think maybe in this case? I might maybe quickly answer, you know, maybe the reason why this question came up is, you know, speaking to my idol, Dave, you know, Statman Dave, you know, another member of the Dave Army as well. Statman Dave, he was saying, you know, I asked him, you know, I said, Dave, how do we fix, you know, certain problems at Spurs? He just said, listen, Jack, you just have to start right away. It's imperative that you start right away with the back five. And just like maybe Carlos H said there, he just said, just to survive, you know, just to get through maybe the rest of these few games. And maybe that is kind of the way to go about it, but it is maybe a bit, it's just kind of strange to think about it that way, because we're so familiar with the 4-2-3-1. We're so familiar with the back four at this club. It would be a major transition, but you know, I know Mike has touched on this a lot. So Mike, maybe you could give your maybe final thoughts on this case. You know, is it the back three that's now essential, or the back five that's essential? You just have to make the switch, maybe even for Nuno's sake.
We've got the players to do it. That's the thing. Like, we've got 3 good centre backs that could easily just step in. You got Tanganga, you got Rodon, you've got Romero. I'm sure with if you practice it on the training field, practice makes perfect. I'm sure. I mean, those 3 are young lads. They're all fit as a fiddle, quick. You've got Romero, who's great at intercepting. You've got Rodon, who's actually very comfortable on the ball. And you've got Tanganga, who's aggressive. Like the 3, it could be a great sort of like combination, and they could sort of. What's the word I'm looking for? Complement each other's game.
Yeah.
And we've got the wing backs like Emerson and Reguilon. It could work. It could work. So I mean, if I saw us line up against Villa and we would go on, whether it's 5-3-2, whether you could say it's 3-5-2, whatever variation we play, whether it's, let's say, 3 or the 5 at the back, it's what Nuno. It's what Nuno did at Wolves, and he knows. He knows his formation like the back of his hand. So, me personally, I wouldn't mind if he goes 3 or 5 at the back, depending if you're, like I say, whether you're playing the wing backs, etc. Or if he goes 4-2-3, well, he plays 4 at the back. If he's going 4 at the back, me personally, I like that formation of 4-2-3-1. If we've got an issue of leaking goals, then if you've got Højbjerg and Skipp patrolling in the double pivot in front of them, give them that protection, then it does give the fullbacks the license to bomb on, because you've still got Højbjerg and Skipp patrolling and breaking up play, or any of the counter attacks that could come our way as a result of them being like the wing backs being further up the pitch. But as long as I don't see 4-3-3, I really don't care what formation we play. I'm done with it. I'm done with being exposed
anymore.
I'm done with a non-existent midfield. I've seen it in 3 games. I don't want to see it no more. I'm done with it. I'm just fed up with how Spurs at the moment are being set up to play. It's just it's criminal insofar as we just haven't got a midfield at the moment. With 4-3-3, we haven't got a midfield, and it's just non-existent, and it's not going to work. It hasn't worked in the last 3 games. It won't work in the next 3 games. And if Nuno does utilise that formation, I think he'll be out of a job before he knows it.
There you go. I mean, Dave, what are your thoughts? Is it imperative? Is it like just almost an existential threat, really, where we have to go for the back 3, back 5? Or do we stick with maybe perfecting this back 4, maybe switch to the 4-2-3-1?
Me personally, it's just a preference. I prefer the 4-2-3-1. That's just a personal preference.
I prefer that formation as well.
Mike makes a great point. No, it's the tried and trusted for Nuno. It's what he made his name on in the Premier League with Wolves doing. And we do have the players to play that system. Look, you have, Royale. He played right wing back for Betis, if I'm not mistaken. Reguilon played right wing back for or left wing back for Sevilla the year he won the Europa League. Romero played in the back 3 at Atalanta. So you have the players there defensively to be able to do that. But look, for me, I'd rather play the 4-2-3-1. My 4 at the back would be Reguilon at left back, Rodon in beside him, Romero on the right side of the centre back, and either Tanganga or Royale at right back. I prefer Tanganga. And then the midfield too would be Skipp and Højbjerg.
Yeah.
Look, if you want, you could put Emerson at right back. Say you put Skipp and Højbjerg in midfield. You allow Reguilon to bomb forward. You allow Emerson to bomb forward, and that way you have Skipp and Højbjerg sitting there. And like I said, if we do get the ball turned over and they are high up the pitch, them 2 are there to go out and cover the wings and stop anything from coming down.
100%.
Like under Pochettino, what Moussa Dembele and Miami used to do at times.
Yeah.
You get the ball, you give it to the front guys, let them make it happen. You just sit back there and protect with the 2 centre backs. But Gil is number 10. I know this is where Mike stops agreeing with me. I'd put Sonny out left. I would put between Lucas and Bergwijn, whoever wants to play right, and put Harry Kane up top. I think you'd see a dramatic improvement. I really do believe you will. Just get Skipp and Højbjerg in there to turn the ball over all day long and then get the ball. But the biggest problem with Tottenham, and we haven't done it for a long time, we weren't even doing it when Eriksen was here towards the end of Pochettino's time, but is we're not building sustained attacking pressure. We're just playing the opposition's half sometimes, rotate the ball left to right, wait for openings sometimes. We can't do that anymore. And it's a massive, massive problem because teams, as soon as they get up the end, teams are just turning over the ball, coming straight back at us. Yeah. But again, a tree, you can still be attacking with 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs. You allow your wing-backs to get very, very high, but then you have to get the centre of the pitch right then. If you're going to allow that to happen, the centre of the pitch has to be right. So again, for me, you put Skipp and Højbjerg in there, and then you get Kane, Sonny, and Gil somewhere in. Or Kane and Sonny then and Gil somewhere in there as well. But and then you'd have a very creative centre with a very hard working midfield with Højbjerg and Skipp in behind it. And then you have your wing backs going up, creating the spaces completely out wide, get them to hug the lines. And then that frees up space inside for Kane and Hill, or for Son and Hill then to feed Harry Kane with, or even just to receive the ball. And it can create an awful lot of problems for oppositions tactically wise, because they can be all over the shop with it. So look, I just think it's just a simple change in formation at the moment. 4-2-3-1, or you can even, like I was saying, go for a 5-2-3 or whatever you want to do. I just think the change of formation, look, the 4-3-3 doesn't suit. We're either 2 attacking or 2 defensive. There's no in-between with it, and you can't have an in-between with it because of the job you're asking the midfielders to do. So I do think the change of formation is pivotal. But look, do I even think Nuno is the man to take this team? I don't know, I don't know. Look, I think where we're at as Tottenham Hotspur is back at the Martin Jol era, where you have to get someone in who's going to come in and play the right way, and just not afraid to bring through kids. Like, this is another thing. If your players are here and they don't want to play, well, then bring in a kid that's going to do it, a young, hungry player that's going to do it, that's going to do everything the manager asks him to do. Because we've seen some of these players get some of these manager sacks. So maybe the next manager that comes in just has to learn from that and say, right, I'm not even giving you the chance. I've seen what you've done before. Let's go with something.
Yeah.
But look, that's where I'm at. A 4-2-3-1 I would prefer, but I can understand if we went for a 5-2-3 or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, tactical genius.
There you go. And maybe because you guys already answered maybe the next question as well, I would say actually personally, I kind of am kind of more partial, maybe kind of like Darius as well from Paxton Road. I do like actually back three, back five. I think especially in the Premier League, it's proven to be, very successful in past. Thomas Tuchel, of course, won the league with it last season. Before that, obviously, Antonio Conte had a lot of success. And we saw in Nuno's case where Nuno came into the Premier League, not really using the back three, back five very much, but found a lot of success with it as well. It's very defensively solid, and it can be good going forward as well. And I think you guys already answered the question with maybe what personnel you would kind of choose as well, for it. And I think it almost picks itself.
I just want to say there is a way you can actually use both formations, Jack, in a way. If he wants to use the 4-3-3 that he's using defensively, and he can then switch into the three at the back
going forward
with the two wing backs and that going forward. And it's a simple change. And I know people are going to absolutely cane me for it, but put Eric Dyer in there as the deep holding midfielder so that when we do turn over the ball and go forward, he can slot in and beside whoever the two centre-backs are, make the three at the centre-back. You have your two players, whether it be, say, Royal and Reguilon, you can let them go forward, and then the rest of it, they just take shape going up the field. There is another way around it if he wants to do it that way, but I'm not a fan of Eric Dyer CDM, but I'm just saying that is also an option if he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
It's just whether Nuno does it, though, isn't it? Like, we haven't seen this yet. We haven't seen a transition from a formation that he starts and then seeing that transition during the game to, we've switched up formation here because A, it's not working, and this plan B that we've transitioned into a different formation. And this is where, like David just said, I just don't know if Nuno's the man. The problem is you can't. If you get rid of Nuno now, who's going to want the job? It's a poison chalice, isn't it? I mean, you then become.
I think that's around too, Mike. I think that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's weird. I just don't know what it is with Tottenham at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, we've reached that mark of the night, everybody, where we move on to the extra time at this rate, and it's going to be some really good extra time questions, I will say, so we might even take a bit of our time on them as well. And then also, please, the link will be here. I'm typing it in now, but everybody, while I bring up these extra time questions, because as always, Harris Army, I want you responding to these extra time questions here. But everybody, while you're here, please, let's just get Paxton Road. Like I said, it's that final push. It's that final wave that's crashing the beach.
Have we even chipped any off it?
I guess they're kind of keeping it a bit secret at the moment. Maybe they don't have to let us know, Dave. But I will say, we want to push them over. We want that final wave.
Oh, sorry, David. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
I was saying, have we even chipped anything off the subscriber count?
Oh, I haven't checked. Let's have a look. Where are we? Paxton Road.
People are already answering the first question. I absolutely love it. it.
I can't see if we have or not.
No worries. Well, guys, the link is there.
But
Thank
there
you,
it is.
For the plug.
And here's the extra time here. And everybody, please head on over there. We want to push them over tonight if we can. We really would like to push them over. It's that final hurdle just to get them over there. But please, everybody, I would just say David and I really do admire their channel, and we really would like to continue to do stuff with them. And it just if you like us over here, you'll like them over there. That's all I have to say. So please just give them that final push, that final wave that they need just to get over 1,000, the beautiful 1,000, the 1K. But extra time here, everybody. Which Spurs legend would solve more of our problems right now, maybe consider the existential crisis that we're in right now, which one would you take? Is it the Luka Modric from back in the day, the one that hit curlers against Liverpool, top bins as well? Or is it, like I said, Moussa Dembele, the guy that could carry all your groceries, into the house while still holding back 3 or 4 players behind him, holding the ball as well? Me personally, as much as I do rate the itches and I love the itches to death, Moussa Dembele is still one of my favorite players of all time. He's the first Spurs kid I ever even got. He was just such a legend of mine. He was a player I could never imagine being. He just was absolutely majestic for me. It's just everything that I've always wanted Tanguy to be. And I know Tanguy will never be the likes of Moussa Dembele, but Moussa Dembele for me, I would take right now. But Dave, how do you feel about it? Luka Modric or Moussa Dembele? Who would you take at the moment?
For me, Luka Modric. Look, our problem is creativity.
That's
fair. And on that logic, look, as good as Moussa Dembele was carrying the ball from one end of the field to the other, and believe me, do not take this up wrong. I want to say this now. I am not slating Dembele, but questions on his end product. But what a midfielder the guy was. But look, with Luka Modric, I think it's crying out for a player like Luka Modric who can take the ball, go left, go right with it, keep possession, and has that creative spark with him as well. So I think right now it's Luka Modric, but all day long for me it's Luka Modric anyway because I fucking love him.
There you go. Mike, what about for you, my man?
Do you know what? I actually agree with David on this. For me, right now, as much as I know I was a big fan of Dembele, and I always will be. I mean, why the hell we ever sold him in the first place? It just beggars belief in my eyes. But we are crying out for Luka Modric. He's a world-class playmaker. Like David says,
all more than one problem at once. That kind of guy, yeah. He could be that deep. The beauty with him, he could be a deep line midfielder, as in he could play in a double pivot, but be that deep line midfielder who be that creative player, or he could play in the number 10 and still boss the game. It wouldn't matter where you played him. He's world class, and we just haven't got that type of player at Spurs. You could argue, and I'm not comparing these players in terms of ability, but Ndombele and Dembele, they kind of similar. They in terms of their style of play, they're quite similar. So that's why I wouldn't choose Dembele over Luka Modric. And I'm not comparing abilities.
Everybody get a mic for that comment. Everybody in the comments get a mic for that.
And I'm surprised. I'm sure people probably will, but I'm not comparing abilities. But in terms of style, we haven't got a Luka Modric in terms of that creativity in the team. And he would solve that without a shadow of a doubt.
There you go. I think that's really well said. And Luka Modric, by every means, is always he's a Ballon d'Or winner for a reason. He really is world class. It still is in him at whatever 44 years old or whatever he is at this rate. Honestly, he's still a world class player. I think I would take him right now. I think anybody would still take him right now, and he would solve a lot of our problems. But to the second question, you can only sell one player this January window. Daniel Levy tells you, listen, I can only let one player in off the books. Maybe let's say it's a bit similar to a Serge Aurier situation. Maybe it's just someone you have to cancel the contract for. Who will it be? This might be an outside shout, maybe again, Dark Sun G in spirit. I'd like to maybe know, in case you're still listening, I'm going to go for Mr. Catastrophe, Dave. I'm going to go for Ben Davies. Is the one that I would release. I find him to be absolutely useless as a fullback. I find him to now being completely useless as a left-sided center back in a back three. We started to make excuses, starting to think that he would be good at that position. The handball and the penalty and just everything that happened on Crystal Palace. His inability to come into a game and be able to at least be somewhat solid compared to what Joe Rodon did. Joe Rodon, I think, came into a much worse situation. It still showed that he can handle it when the shit hits the fan, as maybe we say over here. Joe Rodon absolutely handled it, and I don't think Ben Davies can honestly handle anything at this rate. So I actually would get Ben Davies out of this club maybe before Harry Winks, and I know maybe I spoiled one of the ones that maybe might be said later, but I'm going to go Ben Davies for me.
Look, for me, it's Harry Winks. Honestly, I cannot stand that of a man and a footballer anymore. I really can't. I genuinely can't. Look, we need to realize he He offers absolutely nothing in the team. He offers absolutely nothing. Look, in fact, he should be cleaning tables with Doris in the canteen right now. No, but he isn't. He isn't. Every time he plays, these same results keep happening. Every single time that guy takes the pitch, every time he plays midfield, teams target him for the press. Jesus Christ, even Pacos de Ferreira targeted him. You know what I mean? They must have been listening to my preview beforehand because I gave them the game plan. Look, for me, it's gotten to the point where he has to go. He should not be an idol to any youngster in this club to say that's how you get into the Tottenham first team. He should not be. So I want him gone. I want him out of here. I'm fed up with the guy.
There it is. There it is. And Mike, what's yours?
I don't. Can I not go for a buy one get one free?
You can do that if you want.
It's Poundland Hotspur at the end of the day, right?
Man, I honestly, do you know what? I used to think Davis was a decent backup at left back, but
do you remember
this season
on Simon's channel?
Yeah, I knew he was going to mention that. And to be fair, at the time, I was like, David's all right as for a squad player, but this season he has been pony. And
yeah,
I would flip a coin. That's what I would do. That's my answer. I would flip a coin, and I'd be like, heads, it's Winks. Tails, it's Davis.
But let's say it landed on a certain side. Would you really not flip it again? Because no, David. I know David would. I know David would. If you told that, he would flip it again.
Who would I go for? See, I don't rate either of them anymore. I really don't.
Go on, find it within yourself to call one out. Go on.
I'm going to go Winks because he is just
brilliant.
He's pony, isn't he? I mean, what's he?
Just get rid. I've never seen. It was like he was choosing between, like there are 3 doors. One had $1 million behind it. David.
Oh man, I'd have been taking longer to decide. Yeah, I'd probably go Winks. Davis, I mean, he'd be able to thank his lucky stars. I just don't think they're just done with the club. They're not improving with us. We've got a Session, so I mean, you could argue, like I say, Davis isn't bringing anything. We've got a Session as backup. Winks, what's he bringing to the team? David's already mentioned it already, so I don't really need to elaborate on it. But yeah, I'd go Winks. Davis.
There he goes. 2 Winks to 1 Davies. 2 Winks to 1 Davies. There you go. Number 3 now. Who would you rather have right now? A bit similar to the first question, practically the same one, but just 2 different players. Maybe, speaking of that creative, kind of issue that we've been having. Prime Christian Eriksen or 2016-17 Dele Alli. And I do mean the 18 goals. I think, what was it? 7 assists, 10 assists, whatever it was. Dele Alli. Which one would you rather have? I'm going to start it off again. This is probably going to surprise people as well, though. I actually would go to the 2016-17 Dele Alli. And maybe just if I needed this season alone, I just needed the goals, just to maybe bring us to, let's say, Europa Conference League final, whatever it may be, an FA Cup final, who knows, top 4 at this rate, a top 6 even. I don't know. I just think maybe those goals could really come in handy. But then again, the way Christian Eriksen came into the side, especially, during that big rebuild that we had before under Poch and whatnot, you do kind of have to argue that Christian Eriksen did a whole lot for this club that maybe isn't recognized. I think it goes either way, but I'm going Dele Alli 2016-17.
Yeah, look, for me, I'm going to go Christian Eriksen, to be honest with you. Look, I've fallen out with Dele Alli, fallen out of love with Dele Alli completely, to be honest with you. Not as it just his hairstyle, but it's just the way he is now. Do you know what it is? I just hate his attitude. I hate his attitude. For me, I take prime Christian Eriksen all day long. All day long. Was he not involved in like 100 and something goals for Tottenham throughout his day?
That's where it is. It's kind of underlying numbers, you might say. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, look, it's Christian Eriksen all day long. Look, Ali, I get it. He was running off Harry Kane. He was getting a lot of goals doing that. But look, as I said, I've just completely fallen out with love with the guy. So for me, it's Christian Eriksen. Yeah. That's all I can say.
He's been burned very hard. He's been burned very hard by Mr. Dele Alli. Mike, to you, Christian Eriksen, 2016-17 Dele Alli. Which one do you need right now?
I'm going to agree with David on this. Christian Eriksen. Prime Ericsson is probably exactly what we need right now. We've got the players. We've got players who can put the ball in the back of the net in Son and Kane. I know you could argue we could do with Dele Alli's goals, like a Dele Alli of 2016-17, but I'm going Prime Ericsson just because of his creativity. He's free kicks specialist.
Dele can't take free kicks. Shamu said that in the comments.
So I'm going with his set piece sort of expertise. When he was in his prime, Ericsson all day.
I appreciate you guys, because
simple as that.
I got to be a bit different, because I think I know maybe what the common answer is. So I'd like to give a case maybe for, maybe the one that might not get the shout. I really do kind of think it's Christian Eriksen, but if I were to make maybe an alternative argument, just Dele Alli. We need those goals right now. We do need those goals. But I do think what David said, though, Christian Eriksen, still contributed in a lot of ways. He was that guy who was like the pass to the goal, maybe the pass to the assist, you might say. So it just maybe is someone that, it's just maybe had those underlying creativity kind of skills that, are just really desperately missing, I would say. Finally here, boys, which legendary striker would you bring back? Jermaine Defoe or Robbie Keane? I think this one maybe goes a bit, it might be a no-brainer for some. I would go Robbie Keane. These guys are kind of very much, I would say, towards the, almost a bit of my kind of diaper era, I would say, as, a Spurs fan to a degree. But for me, it's going to be Robbie Keane just from the stories, but would really like to know what maybe the Harris Army has to say, and also David has to say. Might know what his answer would be, but maybe I'll start with Mike in this case. Mike, who would you go for, Jermaine Defoe or Robbie Keane?
Robbie Keane.
Yes.
I'd go Robbie Keane on this just because I think he's more prolific in front of goal than Jermaine Defoe. Different type of strike. Well, in some
different
sense,
types of strikers. That's why I kind of picked it for that reason.
Kind of two different strikers, but wherever Robbie Keane, I mean, they both score goals. They do both score goals, but I think Robbie Keane would give us just that bit more in front of goal. Robbie Keane all day long.
Go. Well said. I love Mike, how much he's in pain for some of these ones, Dave. You really can't pick between one or the other. It's actually it's a good extra time then. Dave, who do you go for?
Look, for me, I like both, to be honest with you. I really like both. Look, Jermaine Defoe, to be honest with you, he was a fox in the box. He was lethal in the box. But I grew up watching Robbie Keane.
He's never going to go against Robbie Keane.
No, never.
Not a fellow Irishman. Never.
Look, I grew up watching these guys do cartwheels in a Spurs jersey and in an Ireland jersey and giving it large to the crowd. Look, I really like Robbie Keane as a player. I have to say, he was probably my favorite player at Tottenham when he was playing. A big fangirl of Robbie Keane. Never had the privilege of meeting him. Robbie, if you ever do stumble upon this, I'd love to meet you. Love to get you on the channel. But no, look, with Robbie Keane, he could also create stuff. He was good outside the box as well. And look, provided a lot of energy. So for me, I am going to go Robbie Keane.
There it is, everybody. Yeah. There it is. I've seen a lot of Keanes, but also I think a lot of respect for Jermaine Defoe as well, which I do appreciate. I think maybe even like Mike said very well, two very different types of strikers who offer very different things as well. But now I think, we just reached the final end of the show. And so we're not too aware of how close they are. But let's say maybe we just want to hope that we've made an absolutely sizable dent. We don't really know the numbers, unfortunately, but everybody.
It's been much appreciated, though. The plug-in that you guys have done for the channel for Paxton Road, massively.
And we're going to do it again, Mike. That. So don't you worry, Mike. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it all over again.
You get 1K.
We're going to do it all over again. But everybody, there's the link down there. I know there are plenty of people maybe who have either seen Paxton Road and, seen Darius, seen Shane come on, and probably even seen me as well on Paxton Road, seen David on Paxton Road. So everybody, please, it's really the channel that David and I really do love and support. And we want to see everybody head on over there because I really love everybody on that panel. I actually, I have not a lot of time these days. I'm practically just working on our sister channel at the moment, Flat Cap Euro Talk. and then doing everything over here as well. And so, you know, it's pretty much one of the few channels that maybe apart from what We Are Tottenham TV as well, I have time for that I can really give my attention towards, and that is Paxton Road TV. So I would say, everybody, please, 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 please head on over there. It's the channel that I watch in my spare time, and David knows that. And so that's why I've continued to vouch for them, and I've continued to want to bring on as many of these members here as well, or as many of these panel members from there. So please, please, please head on over there and give that subscribe. I mean, Mike, maybe you can give a bit of a plug yourself. You know, what do you guys do on over there? Maybe the Judge Jody show has been brought up before for player ratings. What do you guys do over there that maybe they would like?
Yeah, so just quickly, we do Judge Jody. So Jody, Jody's on every Monday at, I think, about 8 o'clock. She brings on guests from all different channels, etc. We do the normal sort of previews, post-match reviews. We do talking points every Tuesday, which both of you have been on, haven't you? I'm pretty certain you've both been on. And we've got Sid, who was on the panel today. He's got a show every Friday about it's normally about 7, isn't it? 7, half 7-ish, which is called Ask Sid. So that's just where we basically go out to the audience, and we give the topic, and the audience ask the questions, and Sid and a guest, which obviously was you last week, Jack. Which I tuned in, and I was actually
deep into Dele Alli.
Yeah, it was
too deep, maybe.
it was deep on the chat with Ali. I actually really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. It was good conversations I had, and good, like, both yourself and Sid gave great thoughts and sort of insights as to what your opinions were on him, etc. So yeah, Sid's on every Friday. Obviously, as I say, we do the post-match and the pre-matches, and we're on. We're starting to find ourselves on sort of 4 or 5 days a week, depending on if there's a midweek game and a game at the weekend, etc. So get over and have a look if anyone's interested in Paxton Road. As I say, we've got quite a few sort of common or regular, should I say, contributors to the channel. So you've obviously got myself, Sam, you've got Darius, you've got Jody, you've got Sid, who are the main sort of the main contributors to the channel. And then we've got other people like Mr. K, we've got Paul, we've got Deji, Marlon. So there's quite a few regular contributors, and then we've got the special guests that we like to say we get you guys on quite often. Also as
well, I would say everybody that has heard maybe from it says Sam, or Shane, as maybe we know him as, but as well, it's Darius is someone that I absolutely worship. I find him to be an absolute genius, and I love to have him as much as I can on our sister channel at flatcapeurotalk. And I would just say, Darius, if you really like Darius as well, you can't miss him over there at Paxton Road. So everybody, it's just a channel I would just absolutely. I'm not encouraging you. I'm practically demanding you to head on over there and please give them that subscribe. And I said we need to be Harris Army, that final wave, that final push, to push them over that beautiful 1K. There's nothing sexier than seeing a 1K right next to the screen. So I would just say, everybody, let's be that final push. Let's please be that final push. Harris Army, you're usually the ones that can do it. So everybody, please, 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 please big up Paxton Road, and please give them that subscribe, that big shiny red button that we all know too well.
And don't forget, guys, anyone that isn't subscribed to this channel, definitely 100% hit the subscribe button. These guys, we've got a lot of love for these guys. So definitely subscribe if you haven't done to the Irish Hotspurs channel, because these guys are top notch.
Nah, look, I really appreciate that. But look, I think we've made a small dent into it. There are people saying that they have gone over subscribed. So
thank you.
Happy days. That's what it's about. But no, honestly, it's a great channel, guys. We don't send you to bad channels anymore. We only send you to the best ones around. So, guys, make sure you get over to Paxton Road, and make sure you smash that subscribe button. Honestly, we always have a ball every time we're on there. A great laugh, and I really, really enjoy myself, I have to say. But look, Jack, where can people find you as well, my man?
everybody can head on over to our second channel, which is always in the description down below. It is Flat Cap Euro Talk. Flat Cap Euro Talk, in fact, we're making a big transition maybe towards the scout reports, because I feel like a lot of people have really liked the scout reports. And today, David and I gave our bit of a highlight kind of reaction video, as well as kind of a bit of a background on stats and whatnot, to the Korean sensation in La Liga, Lee Kang-in. He is a former Valencia player, now playing for Mallorca. Almost made a bit of kind of a transition that maybe Bryan Gil did. You know, he moved over to a smaller team in La Liga, you know, at a young age, maybe to get a bit more playing time, you know, to be able to, let's say, you know, maybe make a bit more of a name for himself. And so if you guys like highlight reactions, you guys like, you know, maybe talking about players that you think, you know, Spurs should have gone after. And then as well, maybe just to see maybe what, you know, maybe players are out there that, you know, David and I are thinking about, especially that I'm thinking about, as well as what the Harris Army has suggested, because a lot of the Flat Cap Euro Talk scout reports are certain players that a lot of people have suggested to me. They're not really as many my own ideas. I think the next one we're going to do actually is going to be Papa Matasar, you know, that player that we will be joining us, you know, next season. We're going to react to his highlight reels, maybe kind of talk about him. Again, we already did a huge scout report on this channel, which I think everybody should continue to go back there. I think that was an absolute banger, but it's way down in the archives. So we might just pull it up again, Dave, you know, just kind of brush it off, brush the cobwebs off that one, and then put a few highlight reactions in there as well. So everybody, please check out Flat Cap Euro Talk. Be much appreciated, especially if you like highlights, and especially if you want to see what David and I have to, you know, say to certain skills. You know, maybe, you know, I would say certain guttural noises, you know, people kind of jumping out of their chairs, you know, and whatnot. So I would just say, everybody, I think it's maybe the channel for you, especially though Shamu is going to be doing the itches of the week with me from here on out. And also as well, you can find your weekend watch list, which is even very helpful to me, I will say, because especially when maybe after a certain Spurs match, I'm just looking at, you know, what match can I watch, maybe just to make myself feel a little bit better. And I just head on over to the weekend watch list that gets released every Friday. And then I'm reminding myself, oh yeah, there's this derby in Italy. Oh, there's this match going on in Germany. Even David and I, we watched the Borussia Mönchengladbach Dortmund game. And thanks to the football weekend watch list. And it was, I wouldn't tell you, it was almost more MMA than it was football, but for the neutral, it was absolutely sensational. So everybody, Flat Cap Euro Talk, it's our second channel, it's our sister channel. Would really appreciate the support as well.
No, 100%. Really enjoyed the scout report today, and many more of them coming your way, guys. Make sure you get over there as well and smash the subscribe button on it. Old Soul says the Irish Hotspur is best for Spurs, positive Spurs talk. Look, man, we can rant and rave too, but the only thing is, when we do that, you know what the difference is? We offer solutions, my man. So you want solutions? You come to the Irish Hotspur. We don't just rant and rave. We give you solutions after we finish. Salary Agent said there's 7 different dislikes on the stream. And he reckons it was Chris Cowling and the cronies. It wasn't Chris Cowling. Chris Cowling is a gent. He's a nice guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him. It wasn't him. I know exactly who it is. It's Lemon, Melon, and Spoon. You know, a band of brothers think they're great in numbers, but don't worry about that, my man. But look, everybody, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Everyone that helped support the channel with the super chats today. Really appreciate it. You have no idea how much it helps me and Jack on the journey. Big news coming, guys. We need your help as well to help us achieve the goal. We will drop that maybe in the next week or two. You know, once we get the finalized details and everything else, but it does look like it's 100% going ahead. And look, this channel is only going to get better. Some great news this week, very positive news. So, guys, look, make sure you know you smash that subscribe button, share it to your friends, tell them they want to be a part of it. As always, come on, you Spurs. We love this club till we die.
Tottenham till we die. Come on, you Spurs.